resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Assassin hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine. No use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running, really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass, chasing me like a devil pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh, close, smoke, me running really, really fast. Ginger ire on the back of me black ass, chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch.
That was a bad one. That was a bad one. Hold on. What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? As usual, hope we're doing well. It is a Monday night and kind of late for what time I would usually stream, but we are streaming tonight because I want to talk about something exciting from over the weekend. I was lucky enough to attend the UFC Freedom 250 card. That was the first UFC card that I ever attended. Although, like, it's kind of weird because I wasn't actually in attendance at the South Lawn. I was at the Ellipse, which is where most of the cattle were present. But I had a really good time. It was a really fun time, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that. But what is going on, Nuclear Snake? Hope you're doing well. And I'm proud to be in Scott Sullivan's chat. And I'm proud to be in Scott Sullivan's chat, where at least I know I'm free. Yeah, I like to sing that song to my wife every now and again whenever I'm feeling patriotic, because she gets annoyed. As a Brazilian woman, she look, obviously my wife doesn't hate America or anything like that. She's a citizen of this country now. But she still has that love of her homeland, which I totally understand. I get it. So I like to tease her a little bit here and there. I like to talk shit about Brazil. And I like to talk about, oh, you guys are poor and shit like that. Speaking of poor, I'm pouring a nice little cheer wine. I've been to Maryland once in my life. I've been to Virginia once, or now I guess twice. I've been to Maryland. I've been to DC a couple of times, and every time I'm down there, I love the fact that they have cheer wine in abundance. You can't get this everywhere up in the People's Republic of Massachusetts, so I made sure to stock up, as well as Black and Mild wine wood tips. We in Massachusetts, we banned those like 6 or 7 years ago, when the whole vaping moral panic was going on. And because of that, you can't get flavored tobacco. You can't even get menthol tobacco in this state anymore. It's pretty crazy. And the thing is, the next closest state to me is Rhode Island. I live about like 45 minutes to an hour from Rhode Island, and they don't have flavored tobacco either. whatever Massachusetts does, Rhode Island does like right away. So because of that, yeah, I got to go farther if I want some flavored tobacco. So I made sure to stock up on some black and mild wine wood tips. But gonna go ahead, pour me some of that cheer wine here. Ah, yes. Oh, yes. Cheers, boys. Cheers, boys. Oh man. But yeah, uh, excuse me. Obviously, I don't expect a ton of people in here. Not that I ever get a ton of people in here, but you know what I mean by that. You know what I mean by that. I'm streaming on a day I don't usually stream, and I'm streaming a little bit late. But yeah, you know, seeing Pereira lose is always sad. You see, I speak a little bit of Portuguese, not enough Portuguese, but a little bit. And I'm good with the pronunciations and shit like that. But whenever I'm talking to someone who's not Portuguese, or maybe not Portuguese, but who's not a Portuguese speaker, I feel really, really lame pronouncing his name properly. It's Pereira, right? Which is, even that's still probably a little bit off. And because of that, like, I just say Pereira, you know? It's if there's one thing I can't stand, it's like somebody who is like third generation Mexican, like their grandparents or maybe even their great grandparents came here, and everybody since then has been like just full on American, right? And they talk like me. They do things like me. They don't eat fucking chimichangas and other bullshit like that. But the second they have to say something that is Mexican, like taco, they don't just say, "Oh yeah, we're having some tacos." They're like, "Oh yeah, we're having some tacos." It's like, you fucking asshole. Get the fuck out of my face. I can't stand that shit. Latinos are the only people who get up in arms when you don't say something with their accent, and it's a really narcissistic thing. There's a cultural narcissism among Latinos, and I'm saying this as somebody who's married to one. Brazilians are a lot more chill than a lot of the other Latinos out there. But like, there's still kind of a cultural narcissism among Latinos, even the Brazilians, even if they are a little bit better. And that's part of where that or that's part of that narcissism, is like to say and expect people to say whatever it is in the godforsaken accent that you brought here, or not you, but your ancestors brought here and then lost because they had kids here and those kids grew up around other Americans, so they speak like other Americans. But yeah, it is sad seeing Pereira lose, especially because of the way he lost. It's like, getting knocked out is one thing. It just is what it is. Sometimes you get caught. That's just the way it is. And if anybody was gonna catch Pereira, I'm not necessarily surprised that it's gone, but I do think it was a lucky shot. I think if anybody was going to get lucky to catch Pereira, it was going to be gone because of how quick he was. But yeah, I didn't like how he got caught and then Gon immediately started throwing elbows and punches to the back of the head, and Herb Dean just sat there like with his typical Herb Dean like deer in the headlights kind of look. Herb Dean, I have no fucking clue why Herb Dean is so beloved. Like, when he was on screen, the first time he was featured on screen for the UFC card, everybody at the Ellipse, they cheered. They were like, "Whoa!" And it's like, why? Fucking Herb Dean sucks. The guy either stops fights too early or too late. He did one of those. I think it was with Derek Lewis, where it's like it was clear Derek Lewis was not in it anymore. He got nailed by Josh Hokett, and he was out on his feet. He was out before he even hit the ground, and Herb just kind of fucking sits there like just watching him. That's the joke about Herb Dean. Herb, if he dies Dean. That's bad enough, but then you also have a situation where he should have been right on that verbal warning during the action. And then if he didn't immediately, meaning Gon, if Gon didn't immediately switch up the place that he was hitting Alex, then the action should have been stopped. A point should have been taken away from Gon, and there should have been a reset after an optional recovery time. That's the way that it should have been. But instead, Gon gets that lucky shot, and then he starts throwing the elbows and the hammer fists to the back of the head, and Herb Dean just stands there. And because of that, Alex is unable to actually recover. You saw the fight right after that with Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler, what the fuck? Justin Gaethje and Ilya Taporia. Excuse me. You saw like there were situations where uh, Justin had Ilya in a front headlock, and instead of trying to hammer fist at the back of the head, he tried to throw to the side of the head, to the front of the head, or he just held the headlock position. That was the acceptable thing to do in that situation. But, Gon is a dirty fighter. He's known to be a dirty fighter, I guess. Excuse me, that is news to me because I never really watched him, to be honest with you. Um, I just don't think Gon has the skill set to be a real champion. It's like you're gonna beat a dude who was fighting at 185 pounds for most of his career, and now he's a heavyweight. And you're gonna do it in a dirty fashion, and I'm supposed to call you a champion. And it's like, no, of course not. And he's only the interim. But I like people are saying, oh, I don't know how Tom Aspinall beats him. Tom Aspinall is fine. Tom Aspinall is going to be fine. If you rewatch the Tom Aspinall fight, you notice that that round was a lot closer than people originally thought it was. You notice a lot of the strikes that Gon was throwing were missing, and a lot of the strikes that Tom were throwing, excuse me, were landing. And you also notice a desperation from Gon. As somebody who has been doing this for about 15 years, right? I know the feeling of being up against somebody that you just have no fucking clue what to do with. You're like, oh shit. No, like, I'm uncomfortable. This guy, he's able to reach out and touch me. I'm not touching him the way I want to. Shit. That sucks. You know what that looks like. It looks like constant movement. It looks like trying to burn out the clock. It looks like Hail Mary, like, get the fuck away from me kinds of throws, kinds of punches and kicks and stuff like that. If you look at Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn, you notice that. You will notice that, you know? Um, and I know because I know what that looks like, because I know what it feels like. I know what that shit feels like. I've been in that situation countless times with a bunch of different people. Excuse me. They were giving these out with drinks last night. Depending on what kind of drink you bought, you got it put in one of these. I just started asking them for extras. I'm gonna be selling these. I'm gonna be selling these on eBay, which I guess they didn't want you to do, but also how are they gonna stop anybody? Um, but yeah. Anyway, where did it go wrong for Topuria? He was on top of the world. You see, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. With Topuria, I didn't realize how different they were size wise. That is the reason why Gaethje was able to win this fight. If in my opinion at least, right? As soon as they met in the middle and I saw the size difference, I was like, oh, actually, Gaethje might have a shot here. I did not think Gaethje was going to have a shot. Nobody thought Gaethje was going to have a shot. Um, but the thing is, like, Topuria, here's the thing. Topuria hits hard. Gaethje was in danger. Gaethje was in danger, right? Topuria hits hard. He has that kind of power. He could have KO'd Gaethje. The thing is, Topuria is probably not used to fighting dudes that are Gaethje's size, and Gaethje packs a punch as well. So because of that, all Gaethje had to do was use his reach, either A, away, or B, inward, which is what Trevor Whitman told him to do in that second round, right? He used his superior size and strength to bully Topuria. And that is how that ended up going. But like, as it's like I said, as soon as I saw how stark the size difference was, I was like, oh, this isn't as clear cut as I thought it was. Because the thing is, I knew that there was a significant height difference, but I did not know that Topuria was as small as he was. Topuria is yoked, right? He's not like a small guy per se, but his frame is not nearly the same size as Justin Gaethje's is. So even though Topuria is like actually more jacked than Justin Gaethje is just massive compared to Topuria. So because of that, it was not gonna work. It was not gonna work. I do think Gaethje was in trouble, meaning like he was in danger. He was in danger. I do think Gaethje was in danger, but it just, man, man, it was yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy that Gaethje won because you know what? I've been complaining about it for like a month or two ever since they announced the card. I don't like how they did the Americans. I do not think how they did the Americans was appropriate or okay, and excuse me. I didn't like how they did Chandler versus Rufy. I thought that was an A side, B side match that was not favorable to the American, which on the Freedom 250 card, you should be favoring Americans. And I didn't like how they had Gaethje versus Top Warrior because at that time, I thought that was also a bad matchup. That was an A side, B side matchup. And, the B side was always the American. I'm glad Gaethje won because it would have been really annoying if the American, and specifically the proud American, not the like Garcia dude. What was his? Was it Steve Garcia or something like that? I forget what his first name was, but Garcia, a guy who was born and raised in America, he's walking out to Latin jazz on what's supposed to be the Freedom 250 card. It's like, go fuck yourself. I'm actually happy Lopez won. Lopez. I'm actually happy he won that. That was good. Oh, and then Sean O'Malley beat the brakes off of what's his face, fucking Zahabi, and a Canadian. So that was a really good one. That was a really good one, obviously. But like, if Gaethje didn't win, it would have been a really bad look, and it would have been a really big letdown. That was a good night for America. And they're not going to do something like that again. Either that, or if they do something like that again, it's going to be it's not going to be as grand. It's not going to be as cool. It's novel. It was novel, and because of that, there's going to be a legendary status to it. And I'm so happy that I was able to go. I have my wife to thank for that. She's the one who applied for the tickets because they gave tickets to the Ellipse event away, and there was like 85,000 tickets. There was not 85,000 people at the event, but like you never know. Like there could have been 90 to 100,000 people who applied, and the lottery system gave it to the 85,000 people, but yeah, my wife is the one who, she didn't even tell me she was going to do it. She applied for the tickets and she got them. So that was really fun. That was really fun. The event was cool. The event was cool, but here's the thing. Like, I'm not really a fanboy. Um, oh, excuse me. Uh, Back in the day when I was training to fight, and I thought that like it was gonna be my career, that I was gonna be Mr. UFC guy. By the way, what's going on, Scare? Back in the day when I thought I was going to be Mr. UFC guy, I kind of made a point to not be a fan of anybody. It doesn't mean I don't like anybody. It doesn't mean I don't like anybody. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy watching somebody. But as somebody who kind of understands how the sausage is made a little bit, and as somebody who's trying his best to get to that level, as to where, like, if I'm 170 pounds, I'm supposed to make it to the UFC and then be like, whoa, Colby Covington, whoa, a guy that I could fight. It's like, no, of course not, So I kind of made it a point to not be someone who sees fighters and goes, whoa, dude, whoa, So I wasn't soying out over like the potential to meet Drew Dober or Glover Teixeira, or like there was Joshua Van there, and certain other people and stuff like that. I wasn't like soying out over that. So there was time where I got there and my wife and I were just kind of like, all right, what do we do now? We're not really trying to wait in a long ass line just to get 30 seconds with whoever happens to be on the stage at that point, right? Um, what I did was I did a few, they had those power tester things. I've never done those power testers before. I did a few of them. I did two. They had like 3 or 4 different power testers all around with different booths. One of them was Zuffa Boxing or Zuffa Boxing. I still don't know how you say that bullshit. One of them was like Zuffa Boxing. Another one was just like a UFC one. And then another one was a Bud Light one. And then they had a Power Slap. They had a fucking Power Slap power tester game thing that they had there. I didn't do the Power Slap one, though I definitely should have. Yeah, I did a couple of those, and in the third one that I decided to do, I actually got recognized. Two dudes recognized me as Sensei Scott, which was fucking bonkers to me. Who the hell would ever remember me? You know, that's crazy to me. Those guys were really nice. I really appreciated how chill those guys were. I just got caught so off guard that I like went autistic. I did not expect to ever be recognized ever again. I've been recognized one time in public aside from last Saturday, and it was at a wrestling tournament that I was at to support some guys that I used to coach. And it was like the dad of one of the wrestlers that was from like a different town. He recognized me and he was like, "Hey, are you Scott Sullivan? Are you Sensei Scott?" And we talked a little bit, you know. That was he was a nice guy. And then today, like what's it been like 2 or 3 years since season 2 of Fish Tank? These two dudes just happen to recognize me, you know. I was caught so off guard, and then we were in a line that was like moving and stuff like that, so we started moving away from each other, and I kind of went nonverbal. I'm not gonna lie, I started like mush mouth, tripping over my words and everything like that, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm beating myself up for that because like those guys were nice enough to be like, yo, dude, we loved you on Fish Tank, and I was just like, thanks. I should have been like, hey, thanks. Where you guys from? Oh, there? That's really cool. Wow, you came all the way from there? Yeah, yeah. I grew up in Massachusetts. So what's it like where you're at? You know, blah blah blah. Who's your favorite fighter? You know, that's what I should have did. But it's like I said, I was just like so like it didn't work out. But they were nice guys. I think they were understanding that like I was kind of surprised and I didn't know what to do or say. You know. So shout out to those guys. I don't think they're even aware of the fact that I stream here, but you know, if they do happen upon this, shout out to those guys. Thank you very much. You guys ruled. Yeah, and then the second day, I'm still pissed about this. I hold grudges. That's the Irish and the Italian in me. The Irish and the Italians know how to hold grudges, and they know how to hold them two different ways. Um, I didn't almost get kicked out, okay? I didn't almost get kicked out, but I got threatened with being removed. And the reason why is because my wife wanted a shirt. And we went up to a merch dealer. We went up to a merch dealer, right? And it's like this big like trailer thing with like 6 or 7 people manning the cash registers. And we wait in line and we're looking at the merch and we're not exactly sure if there's like a system or anything to it. So we just walk up. My wife asks the lady, "Hey, could we have one of the shirts with Justin Gaethje on it, and then the shirt that is labeled G over there?" And the lady's like, "I can't hear you. You have to speak up." My wife, she's not really loud, you know. She's not a loud person. She's not very loud, you know. Bottom line. So I think, oh, you know, my wife just didn't speak up enough. It's fine. I got this. So I speak up, not yelling, just speaking up. And then this lady's like, "Okay, you didn't have to yell." And then she like storms off for a second, then comes back. And then she's like, "Which ones did you want?" Again, like just immediate, like aggression and like rudeness and stuff like that. So we try to explain to her, we're like, we want the one with Justin Gaethje and Ilya Topuria, and we want the one that is labeled G over there. Okay, you need to tell me what letter or what number you want. We were like, okay, we see that one of them actually does have a letter on it. And then like the other one that I wanted, it was labeled G. So we were like, we want E and G, top row or bottom row. Like she's just like she was looking for a fight is what happened. She was absolutely positively looking to yell at somebody. And we just happen to walk up to her, you know. She ends up grabbing 2 of the same shirts, one of which we did not want. She practically fucking throws them at us. And me, I just want to get out of here at this point because this bitch is like getting on my nerves. So I tap my card. And like then my wife, who was thinking a little bit more clearly about like, you know, fucking fly, what this bitch is like in the middle of right now. She's like, no, baby, let's check the shirts. Turns out she gave us one of the wrong shirts. We're like, no, you see, we didn't want this one. We wanted that one. She goes, well, we're out of those. It's like, you didn't tell us that. So now we have to call a manager right, to come and give me a fucking refund on one of the shirts. And this stupid bitch starts straight up like fucking letting us have it. She's like yelling at us and like freaking out. And at that point, I'm like, look, we're gonna get somebody else. I look to the woman next to her who is this fat bitch. And in fact, I have them on video. I have some of them on video. You know, like I'll show you who we were dealing with here because I have that little respect for these people. Like I Karened out. And I made sure that I got this on video. So yeah, right here. So we have this bitch right here. This is the original bitch. This is the original hoe, you know? And then we have, oh boy. Oh boy. I forgot how piggish this bitch was. We have this bitch right here who is the second one. She walks over acting like she's totally gonna help us, and then she like starts flipping out at us and shit like that. Again, both of them are screaming at us, and we're just like, yo, like, give us our money back. We want to get out of here. Give us our money back. Stop talking to us like that. Give us our fucking money back. And uh Bix emergency. What's Bix emergency? But um yeah, like they end up calling their manager and they lie and they say like they pretend they're crying and they say that we were yelling at them. The manager comes over who let me see if I got the manager on video, right? The manager's this like blonde dude with like long hair, probably thinks he's Mr. fucking Surfer or something like that, you know? I don't no, I didn't get him. I didn't get him on video, you know? Um but like he walks over and he's like, "You yelling at my people?" Now he's yelling at me. I'm like, "No, I didn't yell at anybody." And he's like, "You better not be yelling at my people." I was like, "I didn't yell at anybody. Where are you getting that from? And don't talk to me like that, dude." And then he's like, "I'll have you kicked out. You want to get kicked out?" I was like, "Dude, give me my money back and don't talk to me like that, you know?" And eventually it ended up being resolved where I got a refund. And this dude, like, he was hard as fuck up until he realized, like, oh, actually, it was the two histrionic, like, pig bitches. The two histrionic pig bitches who were freaking out because they're stupid women. He realized that, and all of a sudden he deflated and he's like shaking trying to get me the fucking, like, he's literally like, I see him on the thing like that. I didn't even do anything. I didn't like threaten the dude. There was no like, don't fucking talk to me like that. I was literally just like I have it on video. I have it on fucking video. I'll play it for you guys. I'm still a little pissed about this, you know, because I realized like I should have demanded more of a refund. I should have been like, yo, we shouldn't be paying full price for this one either, you know. Um, I'll try to like
Hey, I don't have.
like
Hey, I don't have your refund, and I need to give this guy a refund. I need this. Are you just getting one shirt then?
Just one shirt. Just one shirt.
Huh?
All I did was talk loud enough for her to hear. It's insane. It's fucking crazy. I'm gonna need your name and your name, by the way.
I need to give this
yeah,
guy.
I Karened out. I was like, I'm gonna need your name and your name, right? I want to go ahead. And see if we can get
Mind your business.
just a fucking argument.
These two over here.
Oh yeah, look, listen.
It's fucking insane, dude. And they're just continuing to try and start with us. Like, we got these two over here being assholes, and then she's trying to be a fucking bitch, too. It's like, what the fuck is the problem?
You see,
I'm not stressed.
you see, like I don't know if you can hear it, but there's laughing in the background because like some like millennial dickhead with his friend walked up to the fatter bitch and started like trying to like low key egg us on with her. So like they're both like her and like the two dudes are trying to egg us on. Meanwhile, this is two like soft pudgy dudes that I could have beat the fuck out of both of them. And they knew that. They knew I was scary, so they didn't want to look at me, and they didn't look at me. They made sure not to look at me, even though they were trying to low key be like, yeah, no, I actually think you're the best one here. You know? You're gonna hear it though.
Let people speak to us like that, and then turn around because the Karen meme is a thing and try and be like, oh, the customer's always wrong. It's like, no, she asked us to speak up. I spoke up. And then she starts fucking throwing vitriol at us. And then this one gets involved. Yeah, she was being extremely rude. That's crazy.
Like do I sound like I'm like, oh, you fucking like, yeah, I'm calling them bitches, I'm calling them assholes, but because at this point they've been yelling at us for like 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we need. Are you yelling at my vendors? No, we're not. Who's yelling? It is this man. Look.
You see, here's the situation here where
The situation is this: we walk over. Don't you fucking yell at my vendors? I'm not yelling at your vendors.
You hear that?
Dude. Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that, bro. Don't be talking to me like that, bro.
If my vendors start crying because you're yelling at them, it's gonna be a problem.
We're not yelling at anybody.
I'll give you a refund.
We're not. Well, then give us the refund. Yeah, give us the refund.
How much is it for?
40. I'm not yelling at anybody, dude. She asked us to speak up. I spoke up. But whatever. We'll take the refund. We'll be on our way.
you're gonna hear something specific too. Right. So like this woman right here, right? You're gonna see her. It's just like, you know, sort of.
Hold on. You heard it. I got you. I know. Yeah. I don't appreciate.
Like you hear the dude, he's like, yeah, I heard they're egging it on, I heard, and then at that point he starts with the like shaking and shit like that, and then fucking like as we're leaving he like tries to fist bump me, and I fist bumped him only because if I didn't fist bump him he would have used that as an excuse to be like, oh, you know what? Maybe you were the asshole. Maybe you were the fucking asshole then. You know, maybe they were right and you were wrong and you were the asshole then. So fuck you, buddy. Like that's what he would have utilized, you know? If there's one thing I'm sick of when it comes to post-COVID America, it's that like every dumbass, like bottom of the barrel Dalit cashier who is working there because something went wrong and it's probably their fault. They think that it's cool to just be like absolutely like heinous to everybody around them. And then when someone's like, yo, dude, don't do that. Don't treat me that way. Don't talk to me that way. What is your problem? What is up with you, bro? Holy shit, dude. What is your problem? Fucking like when you talk to someone like that, just trying to enforce a line that says, yo, don't treat me bad. All of a sudden it's, oh, you're yelling, hey, you're being combative, you're being aggressive, and that's not okay. I'm going to need you to leave. You're not going to get your refund. Like, that's something they tried to threaten us with, was like, you're not going to get your refund because you're being rude. And it's like, honestly, like I'm looking into how I can report these people, including the manager, because the dude's sitting here swearing at me, yelling at me and shit like that. You know, and then he's not listening to my side of the story, zero customer service. But then even outside of the realm of customer service, it's like, it's a human thing to walk up and be like, look, like, I don't know what the deal here is. I work with them. Like, I might know them a little bit better than you, but you know what? Like, maybe there was a misunderstanding. What happened? What happened from your point of view? You know, I don't think people like that should be allowed to just mistreat others and then get away with it, you know? Like, we paid $40 just to get mistreated. Like, no, of course not. So I'm looking into how I can try and bring something against these quote unquote people, you know? It's insane. You know, I got it on tape. The fucking the boyish, you know, the tomboyish chick saying like, yo, don't egg it on. Stop, guys. Stop. Don't egg it on. You know, it's like fucking A. It's disgusting. But yeah, so you know, that's I'm pissed off about that. I'm still pissed off about that because of the Irish and the Italian in me that says like, no, you will not let them get away with that, you know? And I don't care. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it all out, you know? I'm whittling down, like, finding the right person to talk to about that, you know? And I'm gonna send them the video, you know? But yeah, Josh Hokett calling Michelle Obama a man was wild. Cuts to a pissed off Michelle Obama bending a steel bar with her bare hands as Barack cowers in fear. Hell yeah. I didn't even notice that happen. Like, there was so much going on last night, and plus the thing is, like there's a good chance that after the Hokett fight, I either had to piss or I grabbed food. Like, there was no place to sit. It was standing room only. So like it was a weird situation where like I'm sitting down, I'm standing up in between fights, I'm whipping my phone out to like check something. I'm running to where the concessions are so that I can grab something to eat. I'm taking a piss or something like that, getting more water. So there's like a lot of stuff that happened last night that even though I was there, it's like I missed it, kind of, sort of, you know? Like with the Pereira knockout, I actually looked to my wife to say something quick, and I hear "oh" from the crowd, and I look up, and Pereira's in trouble, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And that's when I saw the like 20 fucking unanswered back of the head shots, and I was like, "Ah, man, that's fucking gay." Oh, excuse me. Oh man. Anyway, all coworker women are like that. It's hell. Oh yeah, for sure. You know, like I mean, yeah, it's very effeminate behavior. Like I get to be however I want to be. My feelings dictate whether or not I have to be nice to you, and if I don't feel like being nice to you for any reason at all, I'm just gonna be awful. And that's the thing is, like, there was literally nothing we could have done. There was no amount of sugar or honey that we could have brought that would have changed that outcome. Nothing at all. Because she was trying her best to start a fucking argument. She was trying her best. She was determined. I mean, imagine you're trying to ask me something, and no matter what you ask, I always have a snide fucking comment, you know? I mean, right from the get-go, it tells you, I can't hear you. You need to speak up. Okay, no need to yell. Fucking walk away, come back. What did you want again? I want these and these. You need to tell me a letter. Okay, we have letters. Tell me the letter. Oh, okay. This letter and that letter. Top or bottom? Like that's literally how it started, practically word for word, and basically the same kind of like escalating intonation, you know? And then she starts complaining about, we've been out here for 4 days in the hot sun, and and then fat bitch, you know, fucking Piggly Wiggly over there, fucking thinking she's gonna like come to the aid. You know, I'm sitting here not even talking to her, right? Like, and that's the thing is like Piggly Wiggly comes over, like she pretends like she's gonna help us out, and then when I'm talking to my wife, like, yo, that was insane. What was that chick's problem? That's like so rude of her to be that way. Piggly Wiggly decides she's gonna fucking join in. It's an A-B conversation. She decides to see her way into it instead of just doing the right thing and getting us our fucking refund so that we can get out of there. And that again is the problem with these low caste motherfuckers who work these low caste jobs, these like cashier at a convenience store jobs. And I'm not saying everybody who is a cashier at a convenience store is a piece of shit, but I mean a lot of them are. And it's one of those things where you're working that job because you're a piece of shit. It's not you're a piece of shit because you have that job, which is why the exceptions to the rules exist. But a lot of the time it's you're a piece of shit. Therefore, the only kind of job you can keep is like a cashier job at a fucking convenience store, you know? Everybody needs a job. So it's like if it's between that and homelessness, you might as well take it. But like a lot of people don't have a choice. And those are two women that I know don't have a fucking choice. They don't have a choice, you know? And like that's the thing is like fucking we're sitting here and she wants to keep the argument going. She's continuing to keep trying to escalate because that's what they want is an argument. That's the whole thing that they're going for. There's like a fucking mosquito or a gnat in my room and it's bothering the hell out of me, you know? And it's frustrating to deal with people like that. It's frustrating to get people like that because they know that like customer service and like trying to go to corporate is so like confusing and like annoying and shit like that they're like, nah, I'm probably protected. I'm probably fine. But the thing is, Again, I hold grudges. I'll track that shit down. I'll send them the video. I'll alter the video so that it doesn't have the situations, it doesn't have the things where I'm swearing and stuff like that. That way they can't tell, like, that way they can't be like, oh, well, I mean, you were swearing and you did call her a bitch. You did call her a bitch. So, you know, and it's like, honestly, bro, like, fuck people like that, you know? If they didn't want to fight, they would have been like, all right, here, we're gonna, look, I'm gonna go that way. If you need something else, I'll grab one of them, or you can grab one of them, okay? All right? Manager's gonna be coming, he's gonna get you your thing. I don't want to continue this. But I was the one, the customer, who I had to be like, ma'am, I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing this with you, ma'am. It's not happening. I'm not doing it. You know, you need some kind of recourse. And that's why violence used to be an everyday part of like society. Like I should have been able to, I should have been able to sick my wife on them. I should like my wife should have been able to be like, hey, fatty, why don't you come down here and we can fight about it? That's the way it is in Brazil. You don't get arrested for street fights willy-nilly in Brazil. There usually has to be some kind of aspect to it that like necessitates an arrest, like you fucking killed somebody or something like that. But if you fight somebody in Brazil and it's just an ass whooping and everybody goes their separate ways and nothing else happens, that just is what it is. No one's getting arrested, you know? I forget if it was my mother-in-law or her sister, so my aunt-in-law, I guess, but one of them was being stalked and harassed by this one dude in Brazil, and one of her brothers beat the piss out of the guy, and the guy went to the police and explained the situation, and the cop was like, yeah, you're lucky he just beat the piss out of you. If you did that to my sister, I would have killed you. Get out of here. I ain't arresting anybody for you. And that is, like, say what you want about Brazil. There's a lot of things you could say about Brazil, but you know what? That's one thing they got right, you know? Violence is so far removed from American culture, and it's funny because, like, here we are watching the UFC where it's like the celebration of the warrior spirit. Fighting is in our DNA and all this other stuff. Our society has been so far feminized that, like, you have these types of people who they will fucking disrespect the fuck out of you, and you're somehow the bad guy if you smack them to high hell, you know? I don't even want my wife fighting people like that, but you know what? I know my wife could have beat the living shit out of one of those bitches, really both of them, one at a time, you know? There is like, that would have been the right thing. That would have been the right thing. Hey, you're gonna be that kind of disrespectful? Step down from your fucking high place in your UFC store fucking van and get these hands. My wife is going to fuck you up. That's what should have been allowed. And my wife got to that point. She was like, honestly, I'm about it. Like, she told me today, she was like, you didn't hear me, but I tried to tell you we had to get out of here because I was like 2 seconds away from spitting on the fat one specifically. Because the fat one especially was trying to egg us on, you know? And it's like, man, you know, and somebody asked me about spiritual damage. Somebody asked me about it was somebody on my channel. They commented like 3 or 4 days ago. It was a video. I forget what video it was. Bada bing, bada boom, un momento, por favor. Reminds me of that one video where some random guy catches and armbars a thief and just walks away right after with no repercussions. Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. That's fantastic, you know? I got ops down in Brazil. I haven't even been there, but my wife's ex is you know, like he stalked her for like a year or two when she and I first got together. She partially left Brazil to try and get away from this guy. That's part of the reason why she left Brazil. It was donate a kidney to her sister, but the thing is, with the kidney donation, she could have come for like a month or two and then went back, you know? She wanted to leave Brazil for like the long term and eventually return, but then she met me. She wanted to stay like the 6 to 8 months that her tourist visa would have allowed her to stay, because her ex was like stalking her and stuff like that. And this guy tried to fuck with me, knowing that if it came down to it and we ended up in the same place and I could actually do something to this guy, I wouldn't have to wait for him to have a knife up here trying to plunge it into my chest, or worse, my wife's chest. is like that's so relieving. If he came here, I'd have to wait until like he's got the gun pointed and aimed. And then I could be like, uh-oh, I better try to MMA this guy. I better try to MMA this guy. Like that's the way it is here, and it's wrong. It's just objectively wrong, you know? Somebody asked on the video where Dean the Great, right? You remember Dean the Great got fucked up by that former UFC fighter? Somebody commented 4 days ago, what did you mean by spiritual damage? They commented on that video. What I mean by spiritual damage is kind of tough for me to describe because we're talking about something metaphysical, right? But every person has a soul, every person has a spirit, and that's something that pretty much every metaphysical belief system agrees on, is that we have a soul, we have a spirit, and that thing is separate from our physical being, though it is attached in some way, shape, or form. And that soul can be tainted. That soul can either be uplifted or it can be dragged down. And there are situations where our own actions will uplift or drag us down. That is, again, a foundational tenet of almost every metaphysical belief system that you could find. Not even just Christianity, but like Buddhism, Hinduism, etc., right? Now, in addition to a lot of the lifting up or dragging down that is done by us, ourselves, to ourselves, there are also things that can be done to us that will either uplift or drag us down. And this is why a lot of like satanic or black magical type stuff relies on the desecration of something that is holy, because what it is doing is dragging that thing down, whether it's a sacred object that represents something, or if it's a person. That's where the whole sacrificing a virgin, or what some of these people on the Epstein list were probably doing to innocent young white women, because that was what that was white slavery of children. White child slavery was essentially what that was. They're doing that not just because it feels good and it's fun, but because it is meant to desecrate the soul of somebody else, which serves two purposes. One, it gives them an immense feeling of power and prestige, the ability to do that to somebody. Right? It's a control thing. But then two, it also kind of makes them into someone who, I guess you could say like a black mage, or a satanic mage or magician or something like that, where they are changing things. They are changing things and they are drawing power from these things, whether it's a situation where they're trying to cannibalize somebody else's soul to gain power, or if it's a situation where they're trying to drag somebody down in the name of Satan. Right? And that is why it's so important for you to be able to confront energy vampires like that. The modern interpretation of what is correct, or the modern belief about what is correct, is that you're supposed to be like, well, golly gee, what do you know about that? That person sure is miserable. Anyway, I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna enjoy my day, because gee willikers, I'm a good vegetable eating, milk drinking American, red-blooded American, not like those pinko communists. They expect you to act like you're the average dude from like 1950. Like you're in an episode of Leave It to Beaver, and that's not the way things work. That's not how things go. There's a time to turn the other cheek, and then there's a time to stand up. And Jesus made that pretty clear from a Christian standpoint. You don't have to tolerate every single attack on you. It's not the way it works. And even like with what I did, like that was turning the other cheek enough. Like I called her a bitch a few times, but I was talking to my wife. Is what I was doing. Just like these people up there were talking to each other about us right in front of our fucking faces. I made sure to talk to my wife about them, But then other than that, whenever they tried to start some new shit, whenever they again, the fat bitch was flirting with these two like pudgy millennial like soy dudes. talking about like the dudes are like, I'll get you a beer right now. Oh man, you better be careful or else you might be leaving with my number. Ha ha ha. Like they were doing that as a means to try and trap us into turning towards those dudes and like trying to fuck with us, you know? But it was backfiring because I didn't let that bother me to the point where I was like, hey, you two dudes, fuck you, because that would have made me look unhinged. You know, instead, what was happening is I'm talking to my wife and we're laughing and joking about what those two are trying to do. And the fat bitch, hearing my wife and I not be bothered by it, but instead laughing and joking, she turns to us every like minute or two, like, and you know what, you guys, blah, 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 blah. She's like freaking out at us, you know? It's like that is as close to turning the other cheek as I needed in that case. I don't need to be disrespected on that level by anybody. You know, and I'm going to impose a cost on anybody that tries to, because I'm not going, especially nowadays. I talked about this on Twitter. You don't get, there's no like respect that you earn from people around you. There's no like, there's no reward for putting up with the person who's like either having a bad day or they're just a miserable person. There's no reward for putting up with that. You just have it happen to you again and again and again. You know, you need to be able to stick up for yourself. You know, closest we'll ever get to Scott making Frank Hassel type content, yeah, is me being like, hey, calm down and don't talk to me like that, you know? Reminds me of that one video where some random guy catches and armbars a thief. Oh, I already read that. But yeah, like you can get away with a lot more, and like Brazil is a weird place because, for instance, like racism is illegal. You get thrown in jail for racism there, you know? My wife has told me stories about times where like her mom has like, who's brown, by the way, she's a morena, has like, because people were being rude to her, she said some things that maybe she shouldn't have said. And like, she like had to drag her mom out of the place quick because she was afraid, like, what if somebody calls the police on my mom and she gets arrested for making that racial comment or something like that, you know? Cheerwine's so good, man. I'm so glad I was able to get some of these. I'm gonna have to not drink them all over the next week. I need to make them last. You know, like you could get arrested for racism, but if somebody calls you a name and you guys fight about it, there's a good chance you're just gonna be left alone. You know, there's stories about like kids trying to run a lemonade stand, and one of the town leaders drives by and is like, that's not regulated, that's not a regulated lemonade stand, they didn't apply for a permit. And then like 20 minutes later the cops show up because they were sent there by the community leader to like bust up the 12-year-old's lemonade stand. You have stories about that, right? And in Brazil, you just got dudes on street corners. Like street food is a thing in Brazil, you know? I was talking to my wife earlier. We don't have street food the way that like a lot of places in like Brazil and other Latin American countries do. But what we have is fast food. Fast food is our street food. You know, that it's our street food is in a building. That's the way it works, you know? People don't realize that. People don't realize that that is what our street food is McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell, Burger King, KFC, Popeyes, etc., etc. You know, it's something you walk in, it's quick, easy, relatively cheap. Maybe not so much anymore, but still on the cheaper side, you know? But like they just do that, and it's illegal in Brazil. But the thing is, like, if they go and they bust up a stall that's selling food, two more of them are gonna pop up anyway. So they just don't give a fuck. They just don't care. They're like, all right, whatever. Like, I guess we'll just let them go. You know, there's a lot of things you can get away with in Brazil that you simply cannot get away with here. And that actually is a culture shock for a lot of Brazilians that come here. We're apparently the land of the free, but like they don't understand that they're like that our customs are, there are rules and we follow them. And because of that, there's like tons of rules for fucking everything. You know, in Brazil, there's either a lot of things that are not legislated or things that are legislated that everybody just kind of agrees. We're not going to enforce that, you know? It's like, I'm excited to go. I'm going to be going, you know, soonish in like the next year or so. I'm going to be going. I have high hopes. I have high expectations because my wife has been talking it up. But one of those things is that like, I will probably feel a little bit more free on a micro scale for the fact that like if I want, I can do like street food. And if somebody tries to mess with me, I can kick them in the head, and as long as they don't die, I'm fine, you know? But yeah, it's fucking wild, you know? That happened yesterday. Like I said, I'm still a little bit pissed off about it. Oh, excuse me, you know? Excuse me. Jeez. I'm just yeah. I grew up a certain way, and that way was like I was not allowed to be in conflict. Like if I ever got caught in the middle of a conflict, my parents would punish me severely, which is like retarded because there were situations where it's like people are making fun of my grandmother. They're like talking shit like that fucking hoe, your grandmother, that fucking hoe, and it's like that's like knock you the fuck out words. That's fighting words, you know? And I'm not even fighting about it. I'm just like, shut the fuck up, you bitch. And now I'm getting in trouble from my own mom. You know, it's like, fucking A. You know, if there's one thing I can tell you is that it's not worth it to be in a situation where you're constantly getting walked all over. You know, people, and here's the thing: you can't fight every battle. You just have to let some things go. You have to let somebody have a bad day and not jump down their throat over it and stuff like that. But somebody who is literally just trying to punk you, which is what that woman was trying to do, and then the other woman, the fatter woman, that's what they were trying to do was punk me and my wife. You have to be able to like aggressively do something about that. Not necessarily physically, but you have to be able to stand up for yourself, you know? That's something that if you're a sensitive young if you're a sensitive young unk like me, you know, you probably grew up in an environment where like you took it to heart when people were like violence is not the answer, and like, oh, you know, the best thing you can do sometimes is just smile or some other shit like that, you know. And if that's the way you are, you got to really move on from that. You got to make sure, you know. But yeah, overall the Freedom 250 card was cool. Excuse me. I had a really good time with it. I'm very glad that I was able to take part in that as a spectator. Jeez, what the hell's wrong with me? I love the cultural impact of it. Even dudes that are not really into MMA, they kind of understand that like that is a flex. That is a big flex for America. Even if half or more of the card was not Americans, that's a huge flex for America. And it also pissed off the right people. The right people are pissed off. You know, and it's the right people are pissed off, the right people are happy about it, and you couldn't ask for anything else, you know. One thing that a lot of people have been talking about is that with the 250th anniversary, there's not been a lot of fanfare, you know, and I've heard a bunch of different theories for that. I think my favorite one is that they probably for the last decade have been planning like, oh, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a dick sucking float where men are going to be sucking dicks on the float, and it's going to drive by at this time, and then it's going to be followed by the Kill Whitey float where it's going to be a bunch of brothers hanging real live white people, lynching. The lynch float, the white lynch float is what's going to happen. It's totally going to happen. The Chris Lynch float, the lynching whites float is what's going to happen. We're gonna send that after the dick sucking float, and then we're gonna have the Nambla float is what's going to come after that. Like that was probably what was going down, was they were planning that type of shit. Is what they were planning. And then Trump got into office in 2016. And if it wasn't 2016, then it was definitely 2024, where he was like, we're not doing any of that shit. What the fuck? And because of that, he trashed it all. He didn't want to tell anybody, hey, that's what they were planning. He probably thought that's a little much to even tell these, like, to tell America what was going on. And because of that, there's just nothing. They have nothing. And that's why there's been so little fanfare. That's why there's been so little celebration, you know? So to have the UFC White House card, that was like, whoa. You know, that was like, damn, that's exactly what we needed, you know? My advice as a guy that nobody listens to is make your own. You know, do your own thing. Do it the best you can. you know? And see what you and your friends, and like, if not your friends, then like a community or two or a county or whatever, see what you can put together on your own, you know? You'd be surprised. It doesn't take that much to do like even a small thing, you know? Um, and I'm saying this as a guy who doesn't have any plans myself, because again, nobody listens to me. What? Nobody listens to me, right? But like, that's the best thing that you can do. If you're mad that there's no fanfare, make your own fanfare. You know, we've all known for decades now that the mainstream has been infiltrated and that it does not represent us, and that, you know, for Freedom 250, they probably would have rather have like aired like a white people bad, black people good, straight people bad, gay people good kind of fucking propaganda piece on like whatever TV channel they could, you know? We all knew that that was the case from day one. So like, why would we be surprised when the mainstream has absolutely positively nothing to offer us in that way, you know? Um, do those bitches like James Drake? Oh, do those bitches like James Drake did the twins? Honestly, yeah, like that would have been I'm just I remembered immediately what you were talking about, but like it took me a second to actually picture what happened with James Drake. It took like a second for the mental image of like that like sort of like crazy picture of him with the with Bingo and Bongo like under his armpits, and he's fucking like he has the headlock on both of them. Just I pictured him doing that, and then I pictured myself doing that to the two bitches, and that was just the funniest fucking thing that I could have thought of in that moment. Thank you for that nuclear strike. Nuclear strike, nuclear snake. Excuse me. Uh, Seemed to me like Topuria had one strategy. Gaethje had two or three with clinches and uppercuts. Yeah, I mean, I think round one was probably Justin feeling out Ilya, seeing what he had and seeing what he could get away with. He was actually not doing bad from range, but the thing is, Ilya was keeping it a little bit too close from range. And that's when in round two, Trevor Whitman told Justin, hey, you got to close distance and dirty box, you know? Because the thing is, like, I don't know many people that are better inside fighters in MMA than Justin Gaethje. People think Ilya is a good inside fighter. He's a good pressure fighter. Um, he's able to find openings and, like, you know, stand in the pocket and trade with you. But the thing is, there's a difference between the pocket and the clinch. We haven't seen a ton of Ilya Topuria in the clinch. At least I haven't seen him. But that's exactly where Justin likes to fight, you know? Um, and he turned it into a dogfight, and it worked out very well for him, you know. And he was able to take it home, you know. I'm glad they gave Ilya one more round to try and make it work, but I mean, it wasn't really necessary, I don't think, you know. I think it would have been a good stoppage before that last round. But I understand why Ilya would have kept going, wanted to keep going. I understand why they would have been like, okay, we'll give you one more round, and if it doesn't work out, we're done, you know. I understand. I get it, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, I think Ilya probably underestimated Gaethje a little bit. You know, Gaethje's been he hasn't like been losing. He hasn't been on a skid, but he has been losing. You know, um, and I think Ilya probably believed that he could knock out Justin Gaethje, and he could have, is the thing. Justin was in danger the whole fight, pretty much. You know, he started pulling ahead in that third round, obviously, right? Like really, really, really pulling ahead. Um, but like Ilya could have landed something that could have knocked out Justin, you know? And Justin knew that, which is why he was really, really quick to make sure he moved. Either A, head movement to avoid whatever was coming in, or head movement to move with whatever punch that he was getting hit with, you know? And this is something that I talk about. Were there a lot of bugs at the fight? There were a lot of bug men There were a lot of bug men. There were not that many bugs, but there were bugs. Like I remember sitting under a tree, like eating some chicken tenders, and there was like bugs that were like flying in front of my face and shit like that, and that was really annoying, you know. But there weren't tons of bugs. Also, the rain held, which I don't think is a coincidence. I think that was God saying, "No, this will go on." I really think that was God saying, "No, this will go on." You know, the whole week forecasted rain. We're looking up at the sky and we see the rain clouds and we're like, ooh, that's not good. We started seeing lightning. There was like 7 or 8 lightning strikes in the first couple of fights, and then the clouds fucked off. You know, and we were good to go for the rest of the night. No issues whatsoever, you know. Um that was really cool, you know. Um but yeah, Ilya was dangerous, you know, even with the size difference. If Ilya was bigger, he would have been even more dangerous, and I think he would have knocked out Gaethje because he did land a couple of really clean blows, you know. But Gaethje is good at rolling with punches, and he's good with taking punches in a way that is not going to hurt as much. He's good at dodging, and he's good at being able to take punches. Whether it's, like I said, whether he rolls with a punch, meaning a punch comes in and you move with it instead of like staying here or moving into it, right? Or what happens, and I was explaining this a little bit earlier to the wife, who absolutely loves to listen to me talk about it. Fucking, if you're aiming for a punch here, right? Your fist is coming in, it's going to hit here, and I duck my head, you see where you're going to hit now. I would much rather get hit in this general area, even the temple. I would rather take a punch to the temple than the jaw, because the temple, people have been knocked out by blows to the temple. I've been knocked out by a blow to the temple. It was a flash knockout, you know. But it's not nearly as bad as getting hit here, you know. So you got to show them the bald spot, right? And that's something that like a lot of modern boxers and modern MMA coaches, they don't get, is that it's not bad form. It's simply a different way of being able to take punches. And this is why it seems like older fighters, old-timey fighters, the Jack Johnsons, the Jack Dempseys, the Rocky Marcianos, the Joe Lewises, like all these dudes, right? That's why they seem tougher than dudes today, is because instead of only trying to box from the outside and keeping the head up and never ducking the head, giving the person the top of your head and rolling with punches, those dudes would give you parts of their body that they would rather have been hit in. Like I said, instead of just being here where your chin is always available, you duck your head forward, you know? And a good modern example of this is Rico Verhoeven versus Usyk, right? I didn't see the entirety of the fight, but like the amount of highlights where you see Verhoeven actually doing a lot better against Usyk, who is considered to be one of the greatest heavyweights of this generation, if not, you know, ever. I don't know about ever, but like he's definitely one of the greatest of this generation. Like you see, that's exactly how Rico was fighting. He high guard, head low, right? Giving this part of the head. That way, if he gets hit, it's not like he's getting hit in the chin. And he's just moving forward, throwing fucking hooks and other bombs, dropping bombs, you know? It works. It's not bad. It's actually very good. But there's a lot of guys out there who they were able to get influence in boxing one way or another, who if you go to their gym, they'll be like, no, don't do that. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's how you get hit. And it's like, yeah, you can get hit anywhere. You know how you get hit? You don't get out of the way of a punch. That's how you get hit. Are you telling me that me, Mr. fucking Floyd Mayweather wannabe, I got my Philly shell ready to go? Are you telling me that I'm never under any circumstances going to get hit as long as I have the Philly shell? No, of course not. It's a fight. Even Floyd Mayweather got hit plenty of times in his fights, you know? Didn't he have one recently against Mike Zambides or maybe it's coming up. But like, the bottom line is like, if you're in a fight, you're going to get hit. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. So to say that something's wrong just because it's not the way you would do it, and then to try and be like, well, you're going to get hit that way. It's like, yeah, you're going to get hit no matter what. It's a fist fight. That's like going to a football game and being like, hey, don't run like that. You're going to get tackled. What are you, stupid? Like, it happens. The point is you get hit and you don't get knocked out so you can keep fighting. That's the whole point of it, you know? Obviously, it's better not to get hit, but you're gonna get hit. So you might as well be ready for when it happens and deal with it appropriately, you know? People are just stupid. What's in the box on your bed, Scott? It's my used condom collection. Nah, I got what's it called? Oh man. It's oh man. I got some shit that I'm trying to sell. I got some shit that I'm trying to flip, you know? It's like junk silver and stuff like that. I keep it in this box because fucking, you know, I just like how the box looks, you know, but I'm trying to a new hobby of mine is trying to flip currencies of different kinds and silver, specifically junk silver. You know, I put together these lots of like foreign currency, star note bills and other stuff like that. And you know, like every one of the lots, I'll have like a few pieces of 90% silver, and then I'll try and sell them. You know, I actually I got this in today. I'm a big fan of this thing, although I'm not a big fan of the condition of it, but I do love the note itself. That is beautiful. It is beautiful, you know. I mean, look at the I forget if this is the obverse or the reverse, but it's just the back, you know. That's, man, like these are some nice notes. I really like these Mexican pesos. Those are like mad cool. I wish Mexico still did that with their money. I think they do some other type of bullshit, you know. This is vaguely reminiscent of the American dollar a little bit, you know. It reminds me very much of the American dollar, and I'm sure it does you too. I mean, even like the front is like very, very similar, you know. But yeah, and in fact, it says American Banknote Company on the front. So like, I have a feeling we were probably printing Mexico's money at one point or another. It wouldn't surprise me, you know. It's in English. You can kind of see it a little bit. Apparently you can't, but you know, fucking, it's like you can at least see some of the lettering like right at the bottom right here, you know. I also I got some stuff not from Maryland, but on the way down. I stopped at this place in Connecticut, and I got some pretty cool stuff. I'm gonna see what I can do with these. You know, like there's a piece of me that wants to open them. There's a piece of me that really wants to open these. Maybe I'll open one of them and see what they're like. But man, I just don't even know which one I would want to open. I don't even know which one I would try to open. But yeah, I think they're pretty cool, you know. And also, like I said, I got some Black and Milds. You know, I got multiple boxes of these because, like I said, you can't get the wine wood tips in Massachusetts anymore. You know. All right. Good mind for coaching you got. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for so long. You know, I've always had a very good fight. I forgot to put a trash bag in the trash bin that I have, so it made a really annoying noise. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for years. You know, I've been doing it for about half the time that I've been alive at this point, and even longer if you want to consider like when I was like every now and again doing some boxing with my dad, going to the gym he used to go to just for fun when he was younger before he had me, you know? I've been doing this for so long that like literally I'm fucking sitting there like, and again, this is one of those things my wife absolutely loves. She can't get enough of this. I'm doing that thing where I'm talking about what's happening on the screen. And like for instance, Diego Lopez versus the Garcia guy. Lopez was getting a little bit beat up, and I was talking to my wife, and I was like, "You see, what I think Lopez has to do is he has to turn this into a street fight. He has to recognize that he's probably gonna get hit. He has to be okay with that. He's got to tuck his chin. He's got to walk through that, and he's got to start throwing bombs." And sure enough, as soon as Lopez starts doing that, he gets the knockout. Like literally, the instant he did that, he got the fucking knockout because he was getting beaten at range, you know. Um, and then there were like other situations where I was doing that, you know, like you've when you've been around the sport for so long, you just kind of you get it, you know. And like it's easy to be the armchair guy, like even me in that situation, I'm being like an armchair strategist. It's just that I've been involved in the sport for so long, and I've coached people for long enough that I understand like how that shit works. And you know, like my armchair stuff is a lot more valid than some guy who's just like, yeah, dude, I watched a couple of UFC cards and now I think I know something, you know. Hey, you ever hear of the guillotine? It's like an arm lock, dude. It's an arm lock kit. The guillotine, dude, they call it that because it'll chop your arm off, dude. It's like fucking hey. Scott has a bag of coins in a box like he's a medieval peasant. Honestly, that's part of the reason why I did that. I like the feeling of having like a fucking treasure chest, and I would love to be able to build one day. Not like literally build a treasure chest, but just have like a small treasure chest just filled to the brim with like coins and jewels and stuff like that. That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool, you know, man. Um, but yeah, like you know, I used to play baseball, and I was crazy good at baseball. I was like so good at baseball. I really do believe I could have made it to the MLB. And everybody who used to play baseball or football or hockey or whatever, they believe that about themselves to some degree or another. But I know that I really, really had a chance. And I know that like you guys are gonna be like, well, yeah, of course you're saying that, but like I mean it. I mean it. But the thing is, I don't understand baseball the way I understand MMA because all I was ever doing during baseball is what I was told. MMA was something where I didn't have coaches just telling me to do stuff. So because of that, I had to not like learn it myself necessarily. It's not like I was out in the backyard like trying to like learn how to fucking you know like set up takedowns with hands and stuff like that. That's not what I was doing, but I had to be able to understand the sport on my own. I had guys that would teach me how to throw a punch, how to throw a kick, but nobody ever really taught me the game. I had to learn it on my own, you know. um and because of that, like my understanding of the game is second to very few. It's second to very few, you know? It's like I said, like Sam was going to multiple people to help him get ready for his fight. I was the only one that actually got him ready for the strategy that Thompson was going to employ because I know the psychology of somebody who has a little bit of boxing training but not that much, and they have a white collar fight coming up. They might start off in that first round trying their best to adhere to some kind of technique, but eventually what's going to happen is they're going to duck their head. They're going to show you the bald spot. They're going to show you the bald spot, and they're going to throw overhands because that's what people feel comfortable doing when they have just a little bit of boxing training. And sure enough, what did Thompson do? He did that. Even Sam didn't anticipate that he was going to do that. Sam tried to tell me, no, like I'd rather you throw, jab, cross, hook, because I think that's probably what he's going to be doing. And if I'm being honest with you, I didn't really listen. I didn't really listen. I was like, oh, okay. And then I just kept overhand, overhand, overhand when we were sparring, when we were doing pads, because I knew. I wasn't going to convince Sam in that moment that, like, no, actually, I've seen this before. I've been here before. He's going to throw overhands at you. It's going to happen. I knew I wasn't going to be able to convince him because Sam's very, very, once he sets his mind to something, once he's made up his mind, there's like no knocking him off of that. But I knew that, like, if I listened to what he told me to do in terms of like what to expect from Thompson, if I gave him that kind of look, it was not going to prepare him the way that he needed to be prepared, And that's not a knock on Sam or anything like that. If there's one thing that's been pissing me off, and I kind of subtweeted this, or whatever, like whatever it is, when you are like, I vague posted about this. I don't like that there's a lot of people out there. I don't like that I'm seeing a lot of posts shit talking Sam. Sam's a nice guy. He's like a good dude, I've seen him try to help people out who frankly don't even deserve it. I've seen him put up with like people who you can tell they're just like the type of people that like you wouldn't even want to be around. And I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. I'm not even thinking like hardcore, like, oh, it was this guy. This guy is the person that didn't deserve it. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, I just don't appreciate how like sectarian a lot of the right wing is. And I think that is one of the reasons why we lose a lot. And it's because of the effeminate nature of the way that people are. A lot of people are fair weather friends, what have you done for me lately types and stuff like that. But Sam is a good guy who's done really good stuff both for other people as well as for his career. And I'm saying this as somebody who, like, I can still talk to Sam from time to time, but, like, we're not in each other's lives the way that we used to be. He doesn't have any fights to get ready for. And like, Sam's a good guy, bottom line. He's done very good things for the cause that we are trying to push forward. And I think what it is that there's a lot of autistic freaks on the internet who they have no real life experience. And that includes some of your favorite people. And frankly, it kind of includes Fuentes a little bit too. That's why some people are pissed at him, I guess, is because he refused to disavow Fuentes. That's kind of true of Fuentes as well. Like, a lot of these extremely online guys, they don't have real experience doing anything legitimate in their lives. That's just their thing, is they're internet guys, and that's it. Even if they have a career, it's like Batman, a Christian Bale, like, who are you pretending to be? Bruce Wayne, eccentric millionaire. Batman is my real identity. Bruce Wayne is the mask I wear. Like, that's really what it is to these people, fucking like based Hitler guy 1488 on Twitter, like, fucking like, that's what that is like his real identity is his Twitter handle. And it's just gay. It's just gay. A lot of people are wastoids, and because they make funny posts, people assume that they're worthwhile, and that's not the case. And even Sam had to play that game in order to become as influential as he became. That's the way that it is. That's the way that it is a lot of people on the right wing, you jangle keys in front of their face and they're like, oh, Sam wouldn't have anything he has now if it wasn't for Scott. Truth nuke, Truk, dropping trooks right here, Anyway, fighting is the ultimate reality check, cut and dry, win or lose. People think fighters are just meatheads, not realizing the strategy you need to be great. Such a break from this DEI reality. Oh yeah, there's something real about it, and I think that's part of the reason why. Like, there's this documentary. It's like a multi-part documentary on YouTube. It's by Secret Base. It's called Fighting in the Age of Loneliness. Now, be warned, Secret Base is like Secret Base is like an arm of Bloody Elbow, which Bloody Elbow for a long time has been like it's left wing sports journalism, left wing MMA journalism, or maybe Bloody Elbow is like an arm of Secret Base, but like these are left wingers who are trying to control the narrative of what mixed martial arts is, and they get some things very right. A lot of things they get very wrong, but some things they get very right. One of the things that they get very right is that as the world becomes more commodified and as the world becomes more like bullshit and like disgusting and all this other stuff, as it becomes more fake, one thing that's real is I kick your ass or you kick my ass. There's nothing more to talk about. And that's part of the reason why I think the UFC has become as big as it is, other than the fact that these guys, like Dana White is a shark and he's making money hand over fist. He's garnering prestige hand over fist at any and all costs. Other than that, I do think that's part of the appeal of the UFC, you know? People really don't understand how great it was before the UFC started to become commodified, and that's something they also talk about in this documentary. Is that like even the UFC is selling out, and this was like almost 10 years ago that they made this documentary. Now that I think of it, it's been that long, but the UFC was starting to sell out even back then, and people were taking notice, you know, like now it's like insane, but like people don't even realize how great it was back in the day. They may not even be interested in it. You know, they might look at that and be like, "Oh, that's not that good." And it's like, no, you're right. It's not that good. It's better. It's a million times better. You know, we used to get fights like the ones on the UFC card, or the White House card, every other month. Like every other month, it was like legend versus legend. It was like barn burner, like dudes doing Superman punches off the cage like Chandler did, going for arm bars like Hokit did. When's the last time you saw an arm bar in MMA other than the Ronda Rousey one? I couldn't tell you, and that's because MMA has become so commodified that dudes don't even bother submission hunting anymore. You know, even from the top, they don't submission hunt. They don't go for the arm bar anymore. It's like it's just it's you know it's it used to be a lot better than it was, but even now in its like sellout, like brand sponsorship, Paramount Plus state, there's still something a lot more real than a lot of the things that we get in the modern world, you know, so people flock to it. I like that the way Scott's balding is coming in makes him look more and more like a Franciscan monk. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Ah, dude. My feet are so fucking itchy, bro. I hate when you wear socks all day and your feet get like itchy when you take them off. That's like the worst. I sat in the car for 8 hours today, just like doing nothing, just fucking driving, you know? What was I gonna say? Yeah, like that's something that I'm excited for in Brazil. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it this time around, but like I don't know, maybe next time I go to Brazil, I might get a hair transplant. I'm not even gonna lie. The thing is, like, I will be bald. I don't mind the idea of being bald, but I could not shave my head right now. I would need to lose a lot more hair for me to feel comfortable shaving my head. And if there's one thing I don't want to do is go bald. So if I can be in a situation where I get a hair transplant that doesn't look absolutely fucking dumb, fucking retarded, I'll do that because why not? Why wouldn't I? You know? Sounds like a good idea to me, you know? Man. But yeah, that was something I vague posted about yesterday is that you know, I don't like that there's a lot of people turning on Sam. I don't think that's fair. Like you know, like here's the thing with Extreme Peace 2. I saw criticism, people saying, dude, it's not 2017 anymore. I don't know why he's trying to tell the same jokes. So what's he do? He moves on. He's like, all right, well, you know, I guess I'm washed now. He didn't say this to me or anything like that, but I would assume that there is some kind of like, you know, I've been doing like ridiculous internet videos for so long. I think it's about time for me to like not do that as much. So he starts the Sam Hyde show. He starts like a couple of different other projects that he's doing for his Sam Hyde channel. And you know, like now people are like pissed at him about that. It's like some people are just never going to be happy. Some people are just never happy, you know. Hitler's generals turned on him in the end too. That's true. That's true. That's true. The Scott Rogan era is going to happen either way. Not if I have anything to say about it. Not if I have anything to say about it. Sam not only said these things to you, he said them in confidence, and you're telling everyone. Anyway, shame on you. I mean, like, I will say, like, he made it known publicly that he doesn't think, like, the future for him is going to be, like, making YouTube videos and stuff like that. YouTube, like, sketch comedy videos. I think in his mind it was, like, I'm either going to do Extreme Peace, what at the time was going to be World Peace Season 2. I'm going to do Extreme Peace, or I'm probably going to try to, like, do something else, you know? Man, itchy. And that's where like Fish Tank came in, you know? But yeah, and then the whole, you know, the whole fucking, what's it called? You know, like everything that came after that, everything that he's done after that, you know? But yeah, I loved seeing Hassan pipe up. All of a sudden, Hassan feels brave, and he talks about he cried when Charlie Kirk died. It's like, yeah, that's a tragedy when somebody dies. I know you don't agree with his politics, therefore you believe that it was like a good thing, you know? But don't get mad at somebody for crying when somebody else dies. That's a show of humility and love. It's a show of humanity. You know, like what the that is the weirdest thing, you know? Hassan isn't allowed in Boston, you know? He's got to check in. He's got to check in. He's got to get that waiver from yours truly. From yours truly. But no, if Hassan was ever in Boston, I'm not saying I would physically aggress upon him. I'm not saying I would hurt him or attack him in any way, but he would get a heckling. If I figured out, oh shit, he's at the Copley. All right, time to hop on the red line. Time to hop on the red line. Time to go and say hello to old Hassan. Give him maybe give him a handshake. Maybe give him a big hug. Maybe a pat on the back to go with it. That would definitely be like if I figured out that he was in the area, I definitely would go say, hey buddy, how you doing? You know, I would not hit him or hurt him or be any kind of danger to him at all. That's not what I'm implying, you know. But it would be nice to call him gay. It would be nice to be like, hey fat, you know, hey fat, hey fat, listen here fat. It would be nice to do that. It would be nice to get the opportunity to do that, you know. I want to know what Brandon Buckingham said to him. I forget if Brandon ever released that footage. I forget if Brandon released that footage or not, you know. Sorry, I had to text the wife. I'm gonna be moving into the new place this weekend. I was gonna try to move the rest of my shit tomorrow, and then I was like, nah. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna move my stuff on Saturday or Sunday, you know. So this Friday might be my last stream in this location. And then maybe Saturday or Sunday or just whenever my next stream after that, you'll probably see me in the new place, you know. If Scott ever met Hassan in person, he'd tickle him until he screamed. Yes, I'd make him squeal like a piggy. Make him squeal like a piggy. And I hope everything's good with my microphone, by the way. There shouldn't be any echo or anything like that. Yeah, no, it should be good. It should be good. We're at a minute. We're at an hour 33, and I got to be honest with you guys. Like, I don't know what else to talk about. Like, the UFC White House event was like really good. You know, I will say this one thing about the UFC White House event, and like, I'm not the first person to say this or anything like that. I've seen it said on Twitter, but people talk about bread and circuses as if they're a bad thing. But the fact is, you need bread and circuses, and those things need to be good enough to capture the population and make them want to believe what you believe and accept what you are trying to get them to accept, you know? That's what you need, and that's what the White House card is it's bread and circuses that tells people, hey, it's okay to be an American. In fact, you should be proud to be an American. There's no need to feel like there's any sort of like evilness or badness associated with that. Just be you, and you know, like enjoy yourself and be proud and happy that you live in the greatest nation in the world, you know. That's what that was. That's what that was supposed to be, you know. And if you're the kind of person who's like, "Ugh, bread and circuses, that's all that is," what you are is like a nerd. And nobody likes a nerd. Nobody wants to be around a nerd. And nobody especially wants to listen to a know-it-all nerd who anytime anything fun happens, they're like, don't you know that this is bread and circuses? You should be trying to create bread and circuses that will capture the goy. You need to capture the goy with your bread and circuses is what you need to do. And if you're going to sit there and knock everything and not create anything, not do anything that will draw in the average person, you're going to wonder why you never have any power, you know? Democracy is a sham, but you do need the power of the people to some degree. At the very least, you need them to not stand in your way while you try to do what you want. And we have been so conditioned to stand in the way of any legitimate conservative reform that we have not had a major win in a long time. You know, there is not like one major win. J6 was a huge win for the left, where they were able to lock up a sizable number of people just for being near the Capitol that day. You should absolutely, positively, 1,000,000% be looking for wins of that magnitude. You know, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is by, one, capturing institutions, and two, capturing the hearts and minds of the average person who maybe they're a little bit politically inclined, but not really, you know. But people are just dumb about it. People are just dumb about it. Didn't Hassan shock his dog live on stream? Oh yeah, he shocked his dog live on stream, and allegedly he and I don't even know if this is alleged. I think he may have admitted to this, but I'm gonna say allegedly. He went to a whorehouse with underage women who were being sex trafficked, and he fucked them. You know, that is according to some people, that is something that he did, and he apparently bragged about it. From what I heard, you know, he bragged about it. The thing you have to understand is that people, for the most part, stay the same. I'm not saying people never change. I'm not saying people never change, but when somebody is vocal like Hassan, there's a good chance nothing has actually changed. What happened is they realize, oh, I can't get away with this anymore. So instead of just keeping my fucking mouth shut, what I'm going to do is I'm going to become a crusader for the opposite of this thing. That way, if I'm the foremost authority or the foremost warrior for this cause or anything like that, anybody who brings up what I did in the past, it will create this weird dilemma where it's like, okay, maybe he did that stuff, but I mean, now he's doing really good stuff. That's what leftists probably think about someone like Hassan. There's plenty of leftists that actually don't like Hassan. That was hilarious to see him get chased out of the New Jersey thing. That was funny as fuck. I loved the hell out of that. Everybody loved the hell out of that. And even those leftists were like, yo, you like to abuse your dog? You know, that was pretty good. But what was I gonna say? Sorry, trying to fucking get something out of my teeth. But like, that's the dilemma that's created in the minds of a lot of these leftists, where they absolutely positively know that Hassan is an alleged rapist of different kinds, mind you. Not just one type of. That's how elite Hassan is at rape, allegedly, is that he doesn't just do one, he doubles up. It's not just statutory rape, it's also just like the rape of somebody who cannot say no. Like they are forced because their passport has been taken and they're stuck in this brothel. You know, that's how elite of a rapist Hassan allegedly is. You know, because fucking like that to me is insane. You know, but a lot of these leftists are aware of that. But like in their mind, they're like, yeah, but he's like an icon for the left, and he entertains me, and you know, I'm a frigid 33-year-old cat lady who never got married, and like I can simp for Hassan and it feels nice, and oh man, like that's what happens. You know, I'm doing a bad job of fucking explaining this, but that's why Hassan is the way that he is. He's running cover for his like alleged past deeds is what's going on, you know? And a lot of people are aware of those deeds, and either A, they do the right thing and they're like, yo, like this guy's bad news, keep him away from me, or like I said, they simp for him. You know, it's one of the two. Anyway, yo, what's going on, Eggy? How you doing, man? What's going on? What's going on? Ligma Legioner. Hope both of you are doing well, as well as Ash Willify. All right. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Hassan shocked us all. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, man. Yeah. You know, like I'm surprised. Like, and I'm not saying I hope this happens. Please, nobody do this. But I'm surprised Hassan has not been attacked in earnest. You know. And I think, if anything, that really shows you just how much a lot of the like right-wing attack stuff was astroturfed in some way, shape, or form in the past. Like whenever there's a right-winger, they're always attacking a grocery store or a school or something like that. That's a little weird. That makes you wonder, like, who put that person up to that? What was going on there? You know. But like we have someone like Hassan who just walks the streets and he's a bigger icon than like a lot of people on the left, and yet he doesn't have anything happen to him. And again, I don't want anything to happen to him, and that like really, like I hope nothing happens to Hassan like that. I wouldn't wish death on anybody, you know, but it is pretty surprising. It is pretty surprising. I gotta be real with you. It is pretty surprising, you know. I would not be surprised if something does happen to him, which again, one last time, I hope nothing happens to him. Don't do anything to him, you know. Fucking Hassan seems like a strong guy. I wouldn't attack him. Nah, he's definitely all he's definitely all aesthetics, you know. He's one of those guys where like if you attacked him the way a bench press would attack him, if you like if he was laying on the ground and you decided to go up to like chest height and fall on top of him, he might be able to maybe like put you up. But no, he's you can see that dude is not particularly like athletically gifted or intensely strong or anything like that, you know. He's a looks maxer. Hassan is a looks maxer, plain and simple, you know. He was a looks maxer before that was even a thing, you know. Excuse me. It's the same way that clavicular, he can't put up like 120 pounds bench press, something that with a detached pectoral. I have a detached pectoral. It's partial, but there's part of my pec that is like not attached to my shoulder anymore. I could put up 120 pounds with my fucked up pec, you know, like, but clavicular couldn't, you know, like I guarantee you Hassan has the same problem. I guarantee you, you know. YouTube stop guy, what's going on? What's going on? Fucking for some reason, YouTube top guy, for some reason, you said Shalom Sensei, Scott, bows deeply. On my YouTube chat, it does not show in top chat. It only shows when I go live chat. That is very interesting. That's very interesting there. I seen Hassan kick like a little fruity boy. Yeah, oh yeah, you know. One of the first conversations I had with Sam about Hassan specifically was he showed me a video of Hassan hitting the bag, and it was like, I don't even think I could copy it, but he was like this, right? Like the way that people hold their hands when they just first get told, hey, keep your hands up, right? This is how I hold my hands. You see how I'm relaxed? You see how there's a little bit of movement? See how the hands are open and things like that? I'm not like rigid, like hands like completely like, there is a little bit of tilt to my hands, you know? He's like this, and he goes like that on the bag. He's like, whoa, like that. Sam shows me that video and he's like, yo, I hope that my guys care about me enough that if I ever made a video like that and said I want to post that, they'd be like, yo, don't, please don't post that, Sam. Don't do it, you know? And it's like, holy shit, man, you know? Clavicular is the first male-to-male transgender. That's a good one, Ash Willify. I'm gonna steal that one. I'm gonna post that on Twitter and not credit you for it. And not credit you for it. That's what I'm gonna do. No, but that is a good one though. I'm hella shadow banned. Hassan needs to open a millennial burger joint and just put the truffle fries in the bag. 100%, fucking 100%, you know? And I'm glad that he's losing influence, and I'm glad that he lost influence as quickly as he did. Like, same thing with Vosh, same thing with Destiny, you know? Destiny only retained influence because he was a lol cow. A lol cow that got to fuck Lauren Southern, I guess. Good for him. But, I mean, Lauren Southern was always batshit insane anyway, you know? She just happens to not look that bad. Her sister's hotter, but you know, Lauren Southern just, you know, not a bad looker. Although lately she, you know, I'm one to talk, but lately you can tell she's been putting on, you know, she's been putting on some of them pounds. You know, I think she might need some of that fucking Zepbound. But anyway, yeah, like Destiny was only relevant because he was a lol cow, and now like nobody gives a fuck about the guy outside of whatever his small audience is. And I know like his small audience is a lot bigger than mine, but like when you consider someone like Mr. Beast or even like Asmongold or something like that, I'm pretty sure Asmongold blows Destiny out of the water and Destiny just blows dudes. So, you know, there's that. Fucking Vosh, when's the last time you heard anything from Vosh? That guy still even around? Has that guy been arrested for cheese pizza type shit yet? Has he been arrested for that yet? We all know it's coming. Has he been arrested for it yet? He probably should be. We all know. We all know what's going on with that guy. You know, he's made it clear. He's fucking said it himself, you know? And arresting the guy is the moderate position. But fucking like Hassan is like he's kind of like Destiny, where it's like people only really pay attention to him because of the fact that he's becoming a lol cow, you know? And that's something that people talk about with Sam, where it's like, what's so bad about what Sam's doing? Sam's not like the fish tank guy anymore. Sam isn't like constantly making what are meant to be like funny comedy, boundary pushing YouTube videos anymore. Like, what's so bad about what he's doing now? Like, there is a quiet dignity to what he's doing. He's just sharing his opinion. That's it. That's all he's doing, you know? Meanwhile, you have dudes like Hassan or like Destiny, you know, and well, I mean, look at how they're doing. Not very good, you know? Jed is letting Vosh host season 6, bro. Dude, that would be the funniest fucking thing ever. That would be the funniest thing. I would love that. And Jet needs to seriously consider it. He needs to seriously consider having Vosh as a host. And he needs to consider letting me come in and box Vosh is what he needs to do. Because I've wanted to box Vosh for a long time, along with someone like Hassan. That's part of the reason I got involved with Sam in the first place, is because like I always wanted to be able to box Hassan Piker. And if I wasn't going to be able to do that because I'm a nobody who also trains in boxing, so that's a double whammy. He can't use me to boost himself, and he's going to get his ass beat if he boxes me. If I can't box him, why don't I help the guy who's going to box him? And as a Sam fan, it was a double whammy because, like I said, I liked Sam. I liked his content. And like, if he's going to beat the fuck out of Hassan, of course I want to be involved in that, you know? So that's when I hit him up and offered my services, you know? And I would have done it for free too. Like, that's how much That's how much I was like hoping that the Hassan fight would go through, is like Sam insisted on paying me. Like if the Hassan fight went through, I would have been cool with doing it for free. I would have volunteered my time. It's only an hour a week. Like fuck yeah, let's go. Let's do it. But yeah. Trump turned the big 80. Oh, really? Trump's 80 now? Damn, that's crazy. He doesn't look terrible for 80. He doesn't look great, but he doesn't look terrible for 80. I'll give him that. He looks a lot better than Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden 80? Is Joe Biden older or younger than the Donald? The Donald. The Hassan videos are insane. I know jack shit about fighting, but he looks so bad that you have to believe it's a parody. He posted that shit trying to pretend like it's a parody, but also hoping that people would be like, whoa, actually, you're looking pretty good, dude. You're starting to improve. It's one of those, it's a joke, but not really things, That's what that was. It was like unironically posting it, but laughing and joking about it. Like he was like, did you see that? You know what that was? It was you. You just died. And then he does the machine gun kicks with his like cosmopolitan LA trainer dude. That was like, woof, woof, but that was seriously a joke is what that was. That was seriously a joke. It was a joke, but he really meant it. If that makes sense what I'm trying to say, Vosh just kicks your ass. Turns out Vosh has hands. Turns out Vosh has hands, and I figured that out in the middle of Fish Tank. I'm just like, oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh, no. What if he scores a crit and wins against you? That's what happens. That's what happens. I'm like not taking it serious, and it turns out he's fucking like, he's doing the Tyson like back and forth, like stepping fucking while he's weaving, while he's fucking bobbing and weaving, and I'm just like, oh, fuck. Oh, no. Season 3 lacked hard without Sensei. Thank you very much, Thank you very much. I appreciate that, YouTube's top guy, I mean, I've done enough talking about Fish Tank, Not that I'm, like, saying I'm never going to talk about it again, but, like, I wish things could go back to the way that they were. I wish that they handled things the right way. Because let's be honest here, Fish Tank was mismanaged. We all know that. I wish things could go back to the way that they were. I wish they could go back to doing seasons in New England. I wish they would go back to sort of what worked in seasons 1 and 2, It doesn't mean you can't try new things. It doesn't mean you can't have new ideas. It's just like, don't fix what's not broke, And it would be nice to be able to get back in there and like do some like karate or boxing or kickboxing or jujitsu or something like that. And I've always maintained that, like, I know it's not the most riveting content. Like, that's something, those dudes that I saw on Saturday, like, they were being nice is what they were doing. They were being nice. They were like, yo, like, the bits you did during season 2 were some of the funniest. I loved the hell out of those. It's like, I don't think you did, man. I appreciate the love. I know you're just being nice, but we can be honest here. They weren't the funniest things. They weren't the most exciting things because they weren't really meant to be that 100%. I tried my best to make them a little bit fun, a little bit engaging, a little bit funny. But like, I wasn't that good back then. And then like, they weren't meant to be like Frank Hassel tier like comedy or like, they weren't meant to be a hassling or anything like that, but they served a good purpose. They served a purpose that helped a lot, and that is to give the fish a physical outlet, in some cases against each other, not just like, oh, they like, this person's never boxed in his life, throw him a pair of gloves, have him fight somebody else. It's like, that's I know it sounds like that's a good idea, but it's really not, It would be nice to be able to go back. It's not going to happen. It'd be nice though, and I do think part of the reason like some of the other seasons had certain issues is because of the lack of like a physical outlet, not even just boxing. I think boxing was the best choice because like just trying to force someone to lift weights, most people are not into that, but most people have or will try a boxing class once in their life. They'll give it a shot because why not? You know? So that's why I think boxing would be like a good idea, you know? But I mean, they don't want that. It's up to them. It's their show, you know? Things aren't going to go back to the way that they were. There's no way I can take 4 to 6 weeks off of work to go down to Georgia or wherever they have the next season and be like, oh yeah, dude, fucking let's do some boxing. I couldn't afford to do that, you know? So it's probably not going to happen, you know, unfortunately. Like I said, unfortunately, you know. Man. Scott, just know all the OGs love and respect you. Spawn_Connery promises. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much, YouTube Stop Guy. I appreciate that, man. You know, I appreciate the love from everybody. You know, I know I'm old hat now. I know that, you know, like most people are not interested in what I'm doing or what I have to say. It's all good, you know. But I do appreciate the love. And I appreciate what Sam and Jet were willing to let me be a part of, and Ben, obviously. I appreciate what they were willing to let me be a part of, which is why I would not start on a bunch of shit. You know, like those two dudes, they asked me like, yeah, I saw some of the rumors. I don't know how true they were. And I was honest about it. I was like, honestly, I personally didn't see anything too crazy myself. I'm not trying to discount anything that anybody else said. I'm mostly just trying to do this with it because when it comes to rumors and he said, she said, it's a murky game. And I don't think I need to be the one trying to dive in to sort out who did what, when, and where, you know? I don't think I need to do that. But I will say that I didn't see anything too crazy myself. But then again, I also didn't party with them constantly. And I made myself very scarce, especially after the whole bitch tank thing. I didn't like the energy. So I was like, you know, I ain't going to be around these guys like that, you know? But like I said, you know, I love those guys. I have a great appreciation for them, a great respect, even if I don't feel like I get that respect back in the way that I probably should have. You know, that's more a statement of their character than mine. You know, that's more a statement of anybody else's character than it is of mine, you know? And like, I wish nothing but success to those guys, and I hope they're able to rein it in. I hope that they're able to put on a show that could potentially grow to be everything that it was supposed to be in the first place, you know? They just need fucking contracts with the town. Just gift the town $10,000, $20,000. I'm sure you guys make that, and draft a contract. And if you're going to do blood games, knock on the neighbors' doors and hand them $5,000 in a contract and promise them you're not going to be making loud noises at 3 a.m. and it's only going to be 2 weeks. You promise. That's all you got to do, you know? And you're going to be so much better off. You're going to be so much better off. You know, it's that simple. You got to give respect to get respect. All right? Or else you gonna get knifed under a tent, white boy. You better put some respect on my name. Are they still driving the van around? Beats me. Fucking beats me, you know? I don't know why they didn't start doing that in the first place. They did it to Miami and then they just like were like, nah, we can't do it anymore or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, you know? Shake some babies, kiss some hands. Exactly, you know? The irony of Jet booting you for being greasy with ladies is so thick, like Richie Aprile. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I don't want to comment on rumors because rumors are just rumors. I personally didn't see anything too crazy. I didn't see anything that would not be expected of boys and girls who are single, or I guess in some cases maybe not single, but their boyfriends or girlfriends are not around. You know, and I'm not even pointing to different people. You know, I'm just saying, like, what I saw was pretty normal. It was like what you would expect of guys and girls who are in their early to mid 20s. That's just what I saw. But like I said, it's not like I was that close to them in the first place, you know? I love Scotty rants. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Summer icky pukers, dude. I still remember putting my head down to try and like kind of whisper to her, like, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help?" And just getting a huge whiff of the vomit and being like, for a second. I don't know if you guys saw that on camera, but boy, it was like, yeesh, ugh. Bro, there's so much content and lore only a retard couldn't polish uh fish tank into a gem. Oh yeah. Like one of the things, and this is part of the reason why I was out of my depth on the writing team for Blood Games too. There's a lore document that we have. There was like when I joined the writing team, I received not a literal packet, but like a packet's worth, like probably I'd say like probably that thick of just like lore and maybe not design documents, but like just like stuff like friendly reminders, explanations of how the Blood Games universe specifically worked, different factions, different characters, all that other stuff. Like Xavier and Soda Man really fleshed that shit out. They really fleshed that shit out. It was crazy. Um and it was like that's part of the reason I was out of my depth is because those guys worked at such a pace that was staggering to me. I have other things that I have to do. I couldn't just be at the fish tank house forever doing Blood Game stuff. And those guys worked at a pace that like I'm just trying to catch up with what they talked about yesterday, and they're already on to a new topic, and I'm like, oh fuck. So what I had to do eventually was I had to start working on like the micro scale, like, hey, what kind of relationship is Cage going to have with this character? What kind of relationship is this character going to have with that character? How should I react to this character? How should we go about this quest on for this faction? How should we do this and that? And that's what I started to try and focus on. And then Blood Games 2 fell through. Um, there's people who would pay thousands to sniff that vomit. Yeah, I guess I should have considered myself lucky. Oh, man. From what I've heard, Jet brutally raped and murdered every member of the cast and crew since season 1, Scott included. It's true. I'm a body double. Man, Greg would have stayed forever, bro, for real. All of us would have stayed forever. That was the most fun that any of us have had in a long time, you know. I had such a good time on that. It was great. It was fantastic. Just looking around here, just looking around. I think Ben knows it could be better, but Jet is a goon. I think they're both young men. I know Jet is a little bit older. I think Jet is around my age, but not quite my age. I think he's like 26, 27 maybe, or maybe he's 28. I don't know, but like um I think when money comes easy, it's really easy come, easy go. I think when money comes easy, it's easy to take it for granted. And they caught lightning in a bottle, and I think they probably forgot that like that lightning was not caught just because like they're that good or they're that cool or anything like that. It was caught because they had a novel idea that they put a lot of hard work into, and the stars aligned combined with the fact that like they really tried to make sure that day after day there was something going on. And then also they didn't have the vitriol for the audience. The audience didn't have the vitriol for them. I don't see it as a situation where it's like Jet and Ben are constantly disrespecting the audience. They can be sometimes, but like the audience is constantly trying to go after them. I can understand some of the anger. But I mean, the best thing you can do is just put on a good show, and that's it, and like try your best to ignore everybody. And it's easier said than done, obviously. Sometimes I make a long-winded tweet saying, "Hey, these kinds of people are saying this kind of thing about me. Just ignore it." Um, but like the point is, you got to make good choices. If you're not going to make good choices, you can't expect a good result. You can't expect a good reaction from people. And Jet and Ben can only do what they can do. There's always going to be somebody who's upset about something. Just focus on making the best product that you can. and focus on what matters, you know. Set design is important, but set design is not that important, you know. It- Season 1 was a fucking like rental house with no theme or anything like that, you know. What made it fun was like the drunk piece of shit challenge. They had a challenge where it was Bloods versus Crips. You know, I think like Crips had like the bottom of the house, Bloods had the top, or maybe it was the other way around, you know. Like that's cool and that's fun and that's funny, you know. The disability challenge, that was brilliant, you know. That's what they need to do. But hey, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't want to go on like too long-winded of a rant about Fish Tank all the time. You know, that is one thing is like I'll talk about Fish Tank from time to time, and it's been a minute since I've talked about it the last. Um, you know, but like I'm at a point where like I'm looking forward. I'm not looking back, and I'm just trying my best to do whatever I can do to put myself in a better position than I am now. You know, that includes potentially moving like states away from where I grew up, you know. I forgot there's no bag in the trash bin. Whoops, whoopsies, whoopsies, oops. You know, season 1 house was the best because of the layout of the living room with the kitchen. Yeah, season 1 and season 2, I like the layout of both houses. I'm not sure which one I think is better. I got to be honest with you. That's kind of a tough one, you know. Um, ah, man. Uh, if you court 4chan artists for shekels, don't be surprised when they spurg. True, true. You know, season 1 became fun when Letty first had to retrieve her belongings from the toilet. Oh yeah, that was oof. That was rough. That was rough for her. You know, how's Letty doing? I kind of forgot she existed for a minute. I'm not gonna lie. You know, um, is she doing okay? She been up to anything lately? Talk about how they betrayed you and ruined your life and career and how it's all Letty's fault. All true. All true. I'll listen to an anti-Letty rant anytime, bro. I mean, I don't have an anti-Letty rant is the thing. I don't have any real issues with Letty. You know, what issues could I have with her? Like the thing about content, right? The thing about content creation, specifically that like I is it IP2 or IP3? I always forget, but like that Ice Poseidon network thing. Regardless, it's like saying the N word in public for content, right? If you say the N word in public, it doesn't matter that it's for content. You're still saying the N word in public. So don't be surprised when somebody takes it personally and they want to fight you over it. Not that I think that's acceptable, but I'm just saying, right? There's consequences to your actions, and sometimes those consequences, even if it's unfair or unjust, is that somebody might want to hurt you, right? I'm not saying I would want to hurt Letty or anything like that, although sometimes I wonder how it would feel. No, but like I'm not saying I want to hurt Letty. What I'm saying is like um when I was messing with her, it was like she took it personally when we were on the Fuck with People show. It's not like I said anything behind the scenes that she did or said. It's not like I did anything like that. Letty came in and she started throwing things from behind the scenes at me, and I felt that that was a line cross. I felt that that crossed the line a little bit, and that's what I was upset at her for, you know. Um and that's kind of the issue. That's kind of the thing is like if you're gonna cross the line, even if it's for content, you're still crossing the line. So you can't really be upset at me for being like, "Yo, you crossed the line." You know, when I crossed the line on that live stream where I made that joke, um, that was like not cool of me, and I did it by accident. I didn't mean to. What that joke was me basically trying to play that whole haha let's hit on the girls type of character, and I thought who's the most quick-witted out of all the girls here right now. Well, Letty's got a pretty quick wit. She's pretty sharp. Why don't I hit her with that and she'll say something funny? And me, when I see somebody, I don't think of some of the worst things that have ever happened to them. I don't see them as whatever bad thing they did or said or had done to them. I see them as a human being. So, like, I made a mistake. And afterwards, I even went to a couple people who were on the stream and I was like, yo, do you think she took it that way? Did you take it that way? Do I owe her an apology? And they were like, yeah, you should probably say something. And I was like, fuck, man. Yeah, you're right. Okay. And when I sent Letty the money, because she won money for winning the stream, it was like $50 or something like that. I also included an apology, you know? Like, I've crossed the line before accidentally, and I made sure that it was like, I was apologetic, you know? If you're just going to consistently cross the line and disrespect people under the guise of, I'm trying to make content, bro. It's like, no, that's like that. It's nothing personal. I'm trying to take away your ability to provide for your family with this merger here. It's nothing personal. It's just business. It's like, nah, it's pretty personal. It's pretty personal, you know? Like, what was I going to say? You know, there's some things that it's like I'm at a point where, like, if anybody was curious, I feel like I could probably talk about it, you know, like it's all in the rearview mirror. And you know, like I'm not going to give you guys Blood Games spoilers or anything like that. I don't think Blood Games 2 will ever happen, or if it does, it will happen in a completely different form than what we were all preparing for before, you know. But hey, you know, I guess we'll see what happens. You know. Sam crying and thanking Letty for being Letty was the cringiest part of season 1, though. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sam. I think Sam was just trying to be nice. You know, I think he was trying to call the dogs off of Letty as well too, because other than the Letty simps, there were a lot of people who were like, "Fuck Letty," you know, and he was probably trying to be like, "Okay, let's try to give you some kind of normalcy, some kind of like you're not getting hounded by the internet existence." I'll be like, you played such a good villain. Thank you so much. You know, yeah, Scott, it was her wits you were into for sure. But of course, I love a woman's brain. I love a woman for her brain. I love a woman for what's up here and in here. Okay, looks don't matter to me. No way, bro. Scott, even if you were hitting on the ladies, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. It's like when I get a boner at the massage parlor, a pretty lady was rubbing my thigh. I don't gotta apologize. Exactly. You whip it out is what you do. You steer into it, you know? No, I mean, yeah, there's literally nothing wrong with anything that I've done, you know? There's situations that if I could go back, I'd do certain things differently. Like, for instance, the bathroom bit, I've said it before, I'd do it again. But, like, I was a little tipsy. Even Haley was feeding me alcohol. You know? And I was just like, that was the first time I felt comfortable to full send something. So I was willing to push the boundaries, and I started rubbing her back. That was like, okay, that was a little, yeah, I didn't need to do that. That was not the way I probably should have went about it. But I would be like, hey, let's duck in the bathroom for a minute to fuck with everybody. Haha, that'll be funny. And still, like, I'd still go through with that part, you know. And then there's other things like I was uncomfortable on camera for a long time. I was uncomfortable trying to do improv and like other things like that. And I didn't really get comfortable with it until Blood Games. And there was like a situation, it wasn't fish tank related. I made a fool of myself right in front of Alex Schultz. We were doing it was an episode of Sam and Nick After Dark. And, it was me, Charles, and Eric Hayden. And we were doing trivia. We were doing trivia against this group of women, and there was this black chick there. And I'm not gonna lie, she was pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie, she was like attractive, you know. But like me, I'm sitting here next to Eric and Charles, who are two dudes that I have the utmost respect for as not just dudes but comedians. And here's me standing next to them trying to like hold up and match their energy and like be on the same wavelength. And like there were times where I did good, there were times that I didn't do so good. And at a point where I was starting to feel a little like nervous, I went back to the well of, oh, let's hit on the girls. Haha, that'll be funny. And I said something to Alex Schultz about like, yeah, she's pretty cute, right? Or something like that. I said something stupid. And thank God I did not have the microphone in my hand. Thank God I did not have the microphone in my hand, because it did not get picked up on the stream. But Alex Schultz was just like, what? It was like, huh? I don't know if he straight up didn't hear me or if he was like, what the fuck did you just say, dude? What? Why would you say that? I don't know which one of those it was, but like that was a moment where I was like, oh fuck. And guess what? I was drinking. Charles and Eric, they brought some Andre. They brought 2 bottles of fucking champagne. And at first I was like, nah, I don't think I need any. But I see them getting tipsy and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to match their energy. Maybe I should be tipsy too, you know? Those like, there's a couple of things that it's like, if I could go back and do a little bit differently, I definitely would, you know? But yeah, hey, it is what it is, you know. Hindsight's 2020. Can't take things back, you know. I don't care what anyone says. Alex isn't funny, like, at all. Sorry, not sorry. No, I think Alex Schultz is very funny. I think you know, I think Alex Schultz is very funny, you know. He like I haven't seen any of his stand up, but like he's just got a very upbeat energy, but it's upbeat and sarcastic. It's like a weird cross between like sincere, like, hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you're here. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's okay with you. And hey, you're a fucking idiot. You know, like it's hard to describe Alex Schultz and his style of comedy, but I like it. I think Alex Schultz is very funny, you know. Um I don't know about anti-Christian jokes, you know, Eric and Charles have made. I don't know anything about those, but you know, I mean, hey, it is what it is, you know. Oh, excuse me. Back rub is better than a front rub. Yeah, yeah, I guess that's true. Ash Willify. Um, Scott's gonna obsess over these minuscule moments on Fish Tank. The rest of people involved don't remember or care about. Yeah, of course, you know, because it's one of those things, right? Like, I want you to imagine one of the more embarrassing moments you've ever had in your life, right? Think back to high school when you did something stupid. You probably remember that in extreme detail. You probably remember what you were fucking wearing that day. But try to remember something embarrassing that somebody else did. You probably would have a hard time remembering it unless it was something that was so crazy. It's like they practically got kicked out of school for it, or it's like they shit their pants or pissed themselves in front of everybody. Like, it's got to be that extreme. Most people probably don't remember what you consider to be one of your worst moments. They have no clue about it. You probably don't remember what those people would consider to be some of their worst moments because like you're so focused on yourself, you know? So it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, of course I'm going to obsess over those things, you know? I don't fucks with Alex, just not funny to me. Yeah, you know, I mean, everybody's got their opinion on what's funny and what's not. You know, I don't think anyone's necessarily wrong. You know, what's Haley up to these Scotty? Do you keep in touch with her? Nah, not really. Just I think she's just doing her thing. You know, she's just doing her own thing, and good for her. You know, more power to her. I hope she's doing well. You know, I know she got arrested once or twice. That's unfortunate. I hope that everything's okay with her, and I hope she gets whatever help she needs, whatever kind of help that is, you know. And I hope that she's able to live whatever life she needs to live to be as good as she can, you know. I wish nothing. I don't wish anything bad on anybody, you know. Not even some of the bad actors that I've seen, and I've seen a few bad actors in the fish tank world, you know. I hope that everybody is. I hope that everybody does all right, you know. One time in gym class, my buddy Roger was wrestling the smallest dude in class named Jack, and he squeezed him, and Jack pooped all over the mats. I will never forget that. Yeah, that's a pretty big one. That's a pretty big one. You know, you poop your pants once past the age of like 7 or 8, and you're the poop guy for the rest of your life. You know. Oh man. One time, a guy in my school got in trouble for jacking off in the library. I still remember his name. Yeah, you probably should, because that guy's probably on a registry somewhere, and you might want to make sure you know exactly where that guy is at all times. That way he can't sneak up on you, you know? That way he can't sneak up on you and hit the tickle monster. Man, man, Scott, I'm sorry the raping and murdering women bit didn't work. I know. Some people just can't take a joke, bro. Some people just they just can't take a joke, you know. Letty did a good job of making everyone hate her. Yeah, you know, like I think that's partially Letty's personality, and I think it's partially that she was playing into that, you know. Um, but yeah, you know, hey, it is what it is. I realized the other day that I actually hate talking to women about literally anything. Pretty much me too. If you're a guy and you enjoy talking to women a little too much about anything other than like surface level topics, there's probably something wrong with you. If I'm being honest with you, like it's cool to have one woman who you can talk to like that. Like for me, that's my wife. I can talk to my wife about basically anything, and we get down to the nitty gritty. We break it down on a level, and we understand things on a level. We vibe with each other very well, and I'm very thankful for that. You know, that's part of the reason why I married her. But like, that's part of the reason why I tend to be a little bit flirty. I tend to be a little bit playful with a lot of the women from the fish tank world, is because, truth be told, what reason do I have to hit up Derench, right? Not only have we never actually met, like, what do we have in common? Probably not a whole lot. You know, I think maybe she did a little bit of jujitsu once. I remember in the grappling challenge that they did, she seemed to be a little bit trained. But like, other than that, what are we gonna talk about? And like, jujitsu's not that interesting of a topic. I don't have like long drawn out two-way conversations about jujitsu with people. That's not the way that shit works, you know. Um, but even the women that I've met, like, what do I have in common with Taylor? And I actually like Taylor. I think Taylor's really cool. But like, what do I have in common with her? And I've never flirted with Taylor or anything like that. You know, I'm just using examples of like, hey, like, you know, what would I have in common with like any of the women from the fish tank world? So like, if I hit them up, like, yeah, I'm gonna be playful a little bit, because it's just, I'm having fun. I'm trying to brighten my mood. I'm trying to brighten their mood. And it's like, if I'm asking a question, I'm not going to be autistic. Like, hello, what time is your stream tomorrow? You know, it's like, why would I do that? You know, um, Tay is super cool as a dude. Yeah. Like I like Taylor. You know, I pop into Taylor's streams every once in a great while. I'm not gonna pretend like it's like every week. You know, when she does stream, I'm popping in to say hello. But you know, I've said hello to her in her streams before. You know, I think Taylor's cool. I like Taylor. You know, what was I gonna say? I don't hate any of the fish tank girls or anything like that. One thing I've considered doing, though, I'm not gonna lie, is I've considered ranking the fish tank girls, but specifically the ones from the seasons that I have not been on. I don't think I would. It wouldn't feel good to be like, I'm gonna put Megan in F tier because she's just not that attractive to me. Like, it wouldn't feel right to do that. You know, it'd feel really weird. I'm gonna put Trish in this tier because I like this about her, but I don't like that about her. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. I don't think that's like a good thing for me to do, you know. But like, I could easily be like, I'm gonna put Mizzy. Mizzy would be like B or C tier because I do find her to be attractive, but the whole goth thing, um, I have PTSD from the last goth chick that I dated, you know. So like, she wouldn't be A or S or whatever the highest tier is. She wouldn't be the highest tier, but she'd be pretty far up there. Um, you know, some like, I have no problem with that. You know, Duren should probably be like B or C tier because like, I do think she's attractive, but truthfully, I'm not a big fan of the DSLs. Like, I think she would be better off without like the lip filler. If I'm just being real about it, I think she would be very attractive if she stopped with the lip filler, like crazy attractive. You know, I like the hair. She's got a very nice body. Her personality is appealing. You know, but like what I'm saying is like if somebody could point me in the direction of that whole uh tier list wherever the people do it with the fish tank stuff, right? Because I know there's a website or something that has like fish tank tier list and people can do their thing with it. I'd do seasons 3 through 5 is what I would do, you know. Derench could talk me into anything probs. Yeah, Derench has an appealing personality too, is the thing. Like she's got kind of a playful, like fun, easygoing personality, and that's something that definitely ups her attractiveness in like any context. You know, I like that. You know, I like Angie's voice. I think Angie has like a nice voice. That's something that like I find to be attractive about her. It doesn't match her body, if I'm being honest with you. Like when I say her body, I mean just the way she looks. Like you would expect her to have more of like a girly girl voice, you know. And she's got a feminine voice. It's not like she's fucking like me over here, like hey guys, it's Angie, you know. But I guess you would expect more nasally, more like oh my god, that type of shit, you know. Um, I accused Derench of being a Turk, and she laughed and showed me her 23andMe, saying she's Cypriot. I didn't know there was a difference. I didn't know there was a difference. Scott making his fish tank girl harem in his mind palace, amazing stuff. Of course, you're saying you haven't. Trish is the nicest lady ever on Fish Tank. Yeah, Trish Trish has like a girlfriend or wife personality. She doesn't come on too strong. She's like she's not like a complete pushover, but she's gentle. She's the kind of woman who like she needs a man to kind of stick up for her. I'm not saying she's like completely incapable of like asserting herself or anything like that, but like she's the kind of person where I think she really needs a dude who is gonna be like, no, it's okay, babe. I'll handle this. I think that would be the best thing for Trish, if I'm being honest with you. Um, Trish is really a nice girl. I really do like Trish. I think she's a cool chick. You know, I haven't talked to her in a long time. I don't know what she's up to. She seems like she's kind of moved away from the whole internet thing, which is probably for the best. You know, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be streaming for. I've alluded to the fact that I'm probably not long for this whole streaming thing, but as much as I love streaming, I am kind of looking forward to just like not doing it anymore, so that it's not like like I love streaming, you know. Oh, excuse me. That's why I've been streaming for 2.5 hours instead of just 2 hours, because you guys keep saying stuff and I keep finding a way to talk about stuff. But yeah, like I am it will be nice to be like to not have that like hanging over my head like, "Oh, it's Wednesday. I need to stream tonight. What am I going to talk about?" It will be nice to just be like back to just IRL, you know. But yeah, um oh man. Oh man. I'm just looking around. But yeah, like fucking that will be fun to do. That will be fun to do. If anybody can recommend me the fish tank tier list website or whatever it is, like a link to the fish tank tier list maker, I would appreciate that, because I will do a girls of the later fish tank seasons, you know. Trish needs me to protect her. She just doesn't realize it yet. Don't worry, she'll come around one day. She'll come around one day. It'll happen. It'll happen. I promise. It's gonna happen. Yes, I don't like having appointments or things I have to do. Exactly. You know. You know, responsibilities suck, and I'm not saying like streaming is a responsibility, but it is something that like it is something that I took seriously enough as to where I'm like, no, I have to stream this time, this day, you know. Um, Jean better be top 3 fish tank ladies. Who the fuck is Jean? I don't know who Jean is. Yeah, I don't like. Oh, I already read that one. You know, it's about 2.5 hours into the stream. I'm gonna give it another couple minutes so that we actually hit the 2.5 hour mark. But I am gonna be getting out of here soon. Thank you everybody who popped in today. Thank you guys for making it interesting as usual. This was a random stream after a bit of an absence for like the last week or so. I think not even a week. It hasn't even been a week. I streamed, I'm pretty sure, on Wednesday or something like that. But yeah, the first stream since last week, and it was on a Monday, which I don't usually stream on at 11, which is usually late for me. I usually wouldn't stream at 11. I wouldn't start a stream at 11. I mean, so thank you everybody who showed up. I didn't expect a ton of people to show up. But yeah, Gene was season 3. Okay, yeah, I don't know if I remember who that is. Is it somebody who came in and then left like very soon after? It must be, must be. Diamond is lit insufferable. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, fat bitch, not like. I don't want to. Here's the thing. I don't want to be mean to her. I just said something very like mean, and she hasn't done anything to me. You know what? It's because I'm still upset about that thing yesterday. So when I heard you talking about Diamond and insufferable, my mind immediately went to the overweight blonde woman who was rude to me yesterday. So I'm gonna apologize about that and say that that was uncalled for. I didn't have to be that mean about it. But like, I will say that, yeah, like I have seen some stuff out of Diamond that I'm just like, I don't love the hell out of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, hey, that is what it is. Apparently it's working for her, so good for her. Oh, Jean was the 50-year-old lady freeloader. Oh, you know what? I feel like I remember who you're talking about now. She was black, right? Wasn't she black? I'm pretty sure she was. If not, it was another lady who was kind of on the older side who was black. Diamond is like femme frank. That's funny. I asked Diamond if she could reenact her giving Jet head. What do you mean? What do you mean reenact? As if it happened. Like for fact. No, the black lady was Star. Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. Then I'm man. Did Jean wear hats? Was Jean always wearing a hat, like a baseball cap? I feel like I'm starting to remember somebody who resembles a 50-year-old lady who is a freeloader on season 3. Did she wear hats and maybe hoodies? Is that her? Diamond's claim to fame is that she sucked Jet. I don't know if I believe that one. My understanding was that she was on Fish Tank for like 20 minutes and then she either left or she got kicked, and then she immediately started trying to troll Fish Tank. That was my understanding of the situation. Yes, Jean wore a hat. Okay, I got you. Man. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Sorry, I'm just looking at some shit. I am about to get out of here. I want to say thank you, everybody. That was a great time, the UFC White House card, and that was definitely a win for America. Not just a win for Trump, but a win for America. And as Trump is the president who put it on, I'd say that's a win for him. People are a little bit too mean about Trump. I get it. You want immediate results, and you want them to be like you want Trump to be naming the Jew and kicking out all the you want Trump to be sending the blacks to Africa and all that other shit. But guess what? Like, none of that shit's gonna happen. Trump. If any of that stuff was gonna happen, it's not gonna be Trump to do it. However, Trump can do some good things for the country. I understand Trump isn't your based red pilled. He said Israel is actually not our greatest ally. I get that's the thing of a lot of different people, but you know what? That was never going to be Trump no matter what. So you need to learn to take the good with the bad. And there has been a lot of good from the Trump presidency. And this is one of the things that's good. I'm hoping the economy is going to start taking off as well. Now that I'm paying attention to silver and stuff like that, I'm starting to kind of understand the ebbs and the flows. And silver tanked for like a week. And I was listening to people who apparently know what they're talking about. And they said, oh, well, the economy is finally starting to kind of like do better. And I noticed that gas prices were starting to go down as well. I don't know if they've gone back up or not, but like they were almost to $5 a month or two ago. And then like a week or two ago when I got gas, they were down to like 4, you know, and I think they've gone up a little bit more, but not like $5 up, like 420. They went 420. Am I right? Am I right? They went 420 is what they did. You know, like they went up it went up a little bit more, but not like as bad as it was, you know. If the economy gets better, that's a win to me. That's really the big thing that I care about is like, can we survive? And that's all anybody cares about, you know. It's all downstream from can I survive, you know. If the economy's good, that's half the battle, you know. It's like what do I care if there's illegals doing like construction work if like me and my people can survive despite that. If me and my people are doing well despite that, you know? Um that's the thing. That's the thing, you know? So if Trump can like fix the economy in the next is it like 2 or 3 years, then what's the big deal, you know? But like regardless, like the UFC White House was a major win for Trump and a major win for America. And you know, I had a great time with it. I'm glad that it went down the way that it did. Man, I will be streaming sometime this week, maybe Wednesday night, but we will see. If not, it will be like Friday or Saturday night. We'll see. We'll see about that, like I said. But again, excuse me. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, as you know. I will talk to you later. Till then, peace out.
Suck Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone.